back to what she says. Sports. Hey y'all. Okay, y'all. I just got some tea right before I went live. Okay. So hang on 1 second. Let me know if you can hear me, see me, hear me, etc. Okay. So I had a bummy day. Not a bad day, but I'm sick of Kevin Stefanski bullshit day. And what I mean by that is you have to find your way back, right? Not to believing in the Browns. No. Because the Browns refuse to fire Kevin Stefanski. You have to find your way back into feeling like it's not futile. You have to remember who the quarterback is, Shedeur Sanders, and you have to level set your expectations, knowing what everybody now sees. What we've been talking about, others have been talking about since the spring, that Kevin Stefanski has been sabotaging Shador. You have to find your way back from this is pointless because they're going to set him up every time. You have to find your way back from, this is pointless because the Browns refuse to fire Stefanski. You have to find your way back from this is pointless to invest any time into this because even before Stefanski was fired, the Browns were toxic, right? They had Hugh Jackson, who said he was incentivized to lose. You've heard me say that before, right? They've had Deshone Kizer, who they let as a second-round pick go 0-15 week after week, losing, being humiliated, not being developed, not getting any better. In an interview that I watched probably earlier this year, he said he was getting worse and worse, and they didn't care. Dylan Gabriel was the same way. He was getting worse, and they didn't care. And then you have Shedeur. Shedor's a dog, right? Shedor's that guy. He's not getting worse. The sabotage is getting worse. That's the only thing getting worse where Shedeur is concerned. The sabotage. Why is that? Because, people are now calling it wristband gate. There's a photo out there with Shiloh Sanders with his wristband on, and instead of it being placed, it's a hamburger menu because that's got to be the snakiest thing that you've ever done this season to a quarterback to hold him back. Shiloh Sanders is so good that you got to take his wristband from him so he can be held back in the first quarter so the Bears can get 14-point lead. And one player who's proven to be an idiot for the Chicago Bears, who I think we were cheering for until he opened his mouth, had some ridiculous comments about Shedeur Sanders' game. We're going to take a look at that. But I just got some tea because I posted on X about Deshone Kizer being sabotaged too, also by the Browns. So somebody who was around, like what typically happens when I post, somebody who's been a Browns fan will give me some tea. So we're going to look into that, right? So about a week ago, or whenever Shedeur was named the starter, I think, maybe it's been 2 or 3 weeks, we knew Shedeur was going to be the starter for the last 4 games. I said these last 4 games are trap games. Facts. Now, the Bears, we couldn't decide who they wanted to win, what the priority was, because we know the Bears are in the playoffs, and we know that the Bears are also trying to run off Caleb Williams. But since the Bears beat the Browns 31-3, they now only have a 78% chance to win and to get to the playoffs. They have only a 78% chance to get to the playoffs after defeating the Browns. So when we were talking about what the priority is or what the agenda is before the game, we said, well, they probably don't want the Bears to go to the playoffs because, they paid Caleb Williams backup, the D3 backup, $10 million. So turns out they let the Bears win over Shedeur. They didn't just let the Bears win over Shedeur. Kevin Stefanski sabotaged that game so people would walk away thinking Shedeur was a fluke and that his rookie of the week was a fluke. Every time Shedeur bows out, think Panthers game. What happened in the next game? He was set up miserably in the Rams game. This happens every time. When Shedeur won in the Raiders game, and you can hear, oh, the Raiders are in the hunt for the playoffs. What happened in the 49ers game? Stefanski gift wrapped that game and gave it to the 49ers and Brock Purdy. It was more important for Brock Purdy to not lose and for the Browns to not to advance in the playoffs under Shedeur. We have a coach that every time Shedeur gets an ounce of success, even in a game, when he gets a drive that gains momentum, somebody on the O-line causes a random penalty, or Jeudy decides, I don't need no respect. I'm going to just go head on and Mark Andrews up this thing, right? I took a poll and I asked people. I wanted to see what people thought. I always like to get your opinion. I appreciate the tea, the tips, and your opinion. I said, true or false? Jeudy is Shedeur Sanders, the possessive Shedeur Sanders, Mark Andrews. I didn't even have to explain what the hell it was I was talking about. And 71% of people said it's true. See, everybody knows that Jeudy didn't want to catch that ball. His reputation is trash. He better never go broke and need a goddamn job because he don't have no integrity. And then Stefanski, a failed coach, continuously failing up. And Haslam is saying, what? Stefanski has done good work for us. The man has won 6 games in 2 years, and he did good work for you. I want you to think about the conversation that Haslam had with Coach Prime, and I want you to think about the way the game went. And this ought to tell you there's a switch. When Haslam and Coach Prime interacted before the Titans game, I think it was, and they were talking briefly, hello, pleasantries, niceties, and you could hear Haslam clearly say, let's say Shedeur has a good game. Let's say Shedeur has a good game. So we gonna agree that Shedeur has a good game. What did Shedeur have? A damn good game with his father present. And the switch, it didn't start off so good because Stefanski was doing his Wildcat BS. And then what happened? A phone call. And Shedeur has a good game. Now, it shows you when Stefanski not meddling, Shedeur can ball out. And then at the end of that game, Stefanski was meddling again. See, Stefanski has to absolutely do him, despite Haslam. But the problem is Deshone Kizer going 0-15, and Hugh Jackson, a head coach for the Browns, reported being incentivized to lose, is pre-Stefanski corruption. So when we decided to hire Stefanski, we needed somebody to continue that line of corruption because Hugh Jackson ain't want to do it. Hugh Jackson didn't want to lose, but Stefanski's okay with it. And he's one of the lowest paid coaches in the NFL. And he's a failure as a coach. But Haslam says Stefanski has done good work for us. Maybe Stefanski's doing the good work that Hugh Jackson didn't want to do. And that's rig the games. Because let's be honest here. Let's be honest, okay? We've known about the sabotage all spring, summer, fall, and now we winter. We're a week away from December 21st, which is winter. We've known about the sabotage all the way through. Then people want to come out and say Stefanski didn't want Shedeur there. I showed you a post with people saying that they thought Shedeur was going to end up on a practice squad. Haslam was reckless with his words and said, he ain't my pick, and wasn't. But nobody will admit whose pick it was. And it wasn't Andrew Berry's. Because I have pointed out, 32 billionaires that took Shedeur off the board is not letting Andrew Berry overrule them at all. So we know 47 had everything to do with that. The 47 pops back up and Shedeur's the starter. But it's okay for Stefanski to sabotage Shedeur. That's the part that I find weird about the whole intervention. Because, 47 came out and said, I told you so. And Stefanski's mad because he got to go along with it. Shedeur gets the off-schedule plays. Stefanski say, I'm going to show you. Yeah, Shedeur could do the off-schedule plays, if the O-line will allow him time to throw the ball. Pressured 68% of the time. And people keep saying, Shedeur just needs to throw the ball away. So 68% of the time, you want him to throw the damn ball away. No. Somebody need to fire Stefanski, and it ain't going to be Haslam. So somebody need to fire Haslam because he's the common denominator. And Deshone Kizer, Tyrod Taylor, RG3, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, Deshaun Watson, Jameis Winston, PJ Walker, Shiloh Sanders. And now they want to throw Dante Moore into the mix. Dante Moore, I'm going to say this again. I hope you see your counterparts going back to school. Shout out to Lenore Sellers. And today, Florida's quarterback, DJ Lagaway, is entering the transfer portal. He's going back to school. All these black quarterbacks coming out in this draft. I want you to study your black NFL history. And I want you to listen carefully to the teams that your names are associated with. All of the quarterbacks coming out this year, and Dante Moore, another black quarterback, being pigeonholed to Cleveland, where they already got two black elite quarterbacks already being sabotaged by the head coach that they refused to fire. That should make Dante Moore go back to school. They're going to force him to come out like they forced Caleb to come out. And if he resists like Caleb, he's going to be sacked 72, 75 times. Shout out to Lenore Sellers for not worried about what nobody else thinks. Shout out to DJ Lagaway for knowing his worth. Dante Moore, it's on you. And I don't know who your agency is. I don't know who they're going to pressure your agency to be. But not only do you need to study the likes of Marlon Briscoe, all the way back to 1968 when he was the best and they didn't want him because he was black. And I want you to parallel that to the messages that you've been hearing about Shiloh Sanders and what they say about the Browns franchise elite quarterback. The best quarterback coming out in the 25 and 2026 draft. The one that they compared to Tom Brady. And Stefanski heard all of this. And he said, you know what? I'm going to make sure people think that's a fluke. This ain't about Stefanski's pride. This is about Stefanski's racism and his belief that black quarterbacks are not worthy to hold the title of QB1. See, the Browns have never drafted a black quarterback in the first round. And Shedeur was going to be the first. Not only was he going to be the first quarterback drafted number 2 overall to the Browns, he was going to be the first quarterback the Browns have drafted in the first round since 2018, Baker Mayfield. And the T I got today is directly related to Deshone Kizer, Lamar Jackson, and Baker Mayfield. What a coincidence. What a coincidence. So the common denominator in the sabotage we're seeing with Shedeur on the ground is Kevin Stefanski, the servant leader of the Cleveland Browns. But the common denominator in the dysfunction, the toxicity, and the racism towards black quarterbacks being drafted to destroy is the owner of the Browns, Jimmy Haslam, who looked Coach Prime in his face and said, let's say Shedeur has a good game today, and made a phone call. And that's exactly what happened. So it goes to show you that when Coach Prime is around, they fear accountability. And for whatever reason, they don't expect him to come back. But that's exactly what he should do. I tagged Coach Prime today. It said not only do you need to show up, you need to bring some gold jackets with you. Because that's the only thing they fear. Accountability from the football world. They don't fear accountability from me and other podcasters. They don't even fear accountability from ESPN. But they know Coach Prime knows football. And they know those Hall of Famers do too. And they need to show up in solidarity for Shedeur Sanders because Stefanski not going to stop. So the next 3 games are trap games. And I will remind you of what happened to Pat Mahomes. I find it very interesting how this is the year that the Kansas City Chiefs dynasty is ending. This year, when 17-32 is the goal to prevent 17 black starting quarterbacks from being QB1, to prevent Shedeur Sanders from being compared or better than Tom Brady. When last year it was to prevent Lamar Jackson from getting his third MVP in 6 or 7 years, whereas it took the same Tom Brady 11. So what is happening is black quarterbacks are being held back, restricted, restrained, destroyed, sabotaged, so they don't break the GOAT's record, including Pat Mahomes, to disrupt the trend of 2 black quarterbacks making a third trip to the Super Bowl in 5 years. So that because it doesn't become a trend. And it's working. And I said, by any means necessary, including pain. But see, Shador knew how to get away. And Pat Mahomes wasn't looking for it. So he got the pain. So now Shador got 3 trap games that they have no intentions of letting him win unless they don't want the Steelers to go or they don't want the Bills to go. But considering they paid Josh Allen $330 million, I'm pretty sure they want him in the hunt. If they desperate enough to take your damn wristband, it proves something. It proves they know after you're rookie of the week, the only quarterback to be rookie of the week through this whole process, through 14 weeks, the best rookie quarterback out there, the number 1 selling jersey, they know they can't come back and say you trash. So they had to find another way to hold you back because they know what you're capable of. They know allowing you to play 75% of the time, you're capable of 393 yards. And if I need the Bears to get out ahead of you, I got to hold you back. And what did they do? They took your damn wristband. Now, that's what you call desperation. That's proof that they know Shador can win. If I didn't think you was worth your salt, I don't give a damn about your wristband. I took your wristband because you have the right to call audibles with that wristband. But if you got the wrong plays, then I'm going to slow you down. So instead of the Wildcats, because I said you could call off-schedule plays, I only said that to placate. I wasn't going to let you get out here. You don't think we knew we was going to take your wristband? When the hell did we take your wristband? And we know you can't say nothing about it. It proves they know Shedeur is good. And every week they got to come up with some cockamamie sabotage. Whether it's Jeudy, who is a buster. He sold out his whole team again. And it should let you know that all that was performative. He don't even care about his numbers. You know why? Because his contract is guaranteed at least 41 million of it. At first, it was 28. And in a year, it mysteriously jumped to 41, guaranteed. Somebody needs to look into that. How he get that? Because he was trash when he left Denver. How he get that? And why not the other receiver they had over 1,000 yards? Or they got rid of him. I bet whoever that was they got rid of, Omari Cooper, I bet he would have caught that damn ball. A damn high school receiver would have caught that ball. Jeudy didn't put up a fight to keep and struggle like Harold Fannin Jr. did. No. The difference is when Gage didn't catch the ball, we saw what was happening. And I said, inexperience. He was worried about breaking his fall with his hand. So he took his hand off the ball and the veteran bullied him. And he's smaller. But there's no excuse for Jeudy. But Jeudy don't care about integrity. I don't know how nobody date him. You can't trust nobody like that. They're going to scam you all the way to the bank. And when they broke, they're going to be out here crying, woe is me. Jeudy once again took the heat off of Stefanski and put it on himself. I don't hear nobody calling for Stefanski to be fired. I hear everybody mad because finally Stefanski sabotaged Shedeur. They want a clean house next year, but they conveniently want to keep Kevin Stefanski right there for the next 3 trap games. That's what makes this so unwatchable. And you wonder why the ticket's $7. And now it's coming out that the NFL is losing money. in terms of the media rights deal with Amazon and Netflix because the views, people are starting to tune out. Well, hell, y'all got Pat Mahomes hurt. So who the hell want to watch that on Christmas Day? He ain't playing. But it was more important to move Pat Mahomes out the way because chances are they know Jalen Hurts on his way back. So you can't have two black quarterbacks. So shout out to Amazon and Netflix for dropping $150 million and they didn't kick the damn quarterback out that everybody want to see. That ought to teach y'all a lesson. That ought to teach you a lesson of doing business with crooks and criminals. Haslam gonna find out too, because he in cahoots with Stefanski, and watch Stefanski burn Haslam down. Watch what I tell you. Anybody that runs off to NFL insider like Albert Breer to start crying about quarterback evaluations and they cut up and damn set up the damn quarterback next week is a spoiled child. Is a spoiled damn child. He a nepo baby. He ain't no damn coach. And Stefanski done hitched his wagon. Haslam has hitched his wagon to Stefanski. All right. He now already ran off and tried to tell. And it didn't matter. Let's see what else he want to tell when he don't get his way next. Let's see what happened. And Jerry Jeudy, out of everybody that's going to go down in the Browns organization, Jerry Jeudy going to be first. He'll be wearing an orange jumpsuit for rigging games before Stefanski. And that's where his shortcomings coming at. His need to be liked is what's going to send his ass to jail for racketeering. Everybody knows Jerry Jeudy is supposed to be a pro, a $41 million wide receiver one, but he can't catch no passes from one particular quarterback. But the rookie Harold Fanning Jr. can emerge as the best wide receiver, and he a tight end. The reason Shedeur being consistently held back is because they know he good. What did Michael Strahan say? Before Shedeur turned 30, he gonna light it up at least 3 times with a championship. You don't think they knew Pat Mahomes could get back? Of course they did. That's why he at home with an injury. Rigged. Stefanski been over here fixing games by hook or crook. You can't even say he not fixing games. It's obvious he's fixing games. It's obvious the sabotage is persistent. If you are consistently sabotaging your quarterback named Shiloh Sanders, you are fixing games. That is illegal. Who wants to support rigged games? So now here's what you got to ask yourself. Going into the Bills game, it ain't a who gonna win or who gonna lose. The spread is irrelevant. Let's see how many times Shedeur gonna be able to overcome Stefanski sabotage again this week. How many beautiful passes to Isaiah Bond? How many of those beautiful passes will he get this week? Will he make it past one? It's not a question of Jerry Jeudy gonna catch the ball. It's the question of how many times can Shedeur overcome his own O-line that has been manipulated to be weak? Can he stand and throw a ball like he did to Isaiah Bond that people are still celebrating today because it was beautiful? How many times can he overcome to find a receiver who wants to be open to catch a pass like he threw to Jerry Jeudy? After overcoming his O-line and his dumbass coach who took his damn call sheet. That's all you looking for. How many times in the game will Shedeur be able to overcome the setup in the another trap game? How many overtime? How many times? How many times will the receivers get themselves open? So Shedeur, who overcomes the O-line, can get the ball to them. And how many times they willing to catch it? He don't have nobody to throw to. And it's not that Harold Fanning Jr. is bad, but he damn near in triple coverage. See, they knew what they were doing. And Shedeur keep going to Harold Fanning Jr. because he know Harold Fanning Jr. is a dog. But guess what? So does the opponent. So does the opponent. So he got to switch it up. Who he going to switch it up to? Jerry Jeudy? Hell to the now. And I wouldn't give a damn what the hell he thought. Cedric Tillman, can he get open? Isaiah Bond? Can he get open more than, and if he get open, is he going to get it? Is he going to find the ball? He might not be a bad receiver, but is he a pro? See, that's the questions Isaiah Bond have planted in people's minds because he's consistently inconsistent. I want to like him, but the jury's still out. It's too many drop passes. It's too many, I'm looking for the ball, don't know where it's at. It's not enough pro behavior, and maybe that's why Andrew Berry sought to get him after he was in a vulnerable position because they weren't paying him full price. I hate that for him because he seemed like he could be a good receiver, but he got to show up 100%. You think it's a coincidence that Quinshon Junkins' run rate is less than 2 yards per carry? That Shiloh Sanders is the leading damn receiver? No. They keep taking Quinshon Junkins out the game and putting in somebody that's new to the squad at this juncture. Even though the playoffs are over, Kevin Stefanski still finding new ways to rig and fix the games, which I will remind you is illegal. And there is ample proof. There is beyond ample justification to fire Kevin Stefanski. Beyond winning games. To avoid criminality. So it's not about a win or lose. This is a trap game. They intentionally saved these 4 games in the dead of winter. And I can tell you, the weather in Chicago was not the problem. The sun was out, like I said it would be. And it mattered. It wasn't about being cold. It was about getting a cold shoulder from your coach. It was about your coach calling you out the game after the game clock started to tell you something because he took your damn armband. And everybody know he took the damn armband, just like everybody believed he had Shedeur's house robbed when he go to play the damn Ravens. And that shows you how poor Kevin Stefanski's reputation is. Kevin Stefanski and Jerry Jeudy, people believed weeks ago they were working together. People watch Kevin Stefanski put his head down or laugh or smile after they lose or something happens with Shedeur. The cameraman does it every week to the point I got sick and I was like, why is the cameraman keep showing us Kevin Stefanski? And people said because he see the sabotage and he pointing it out. So next time, just leave the goddamn camera on him the whole damn time. What's happening in Berea to sabotage Shiloh Sanders so he's not in a conversation like better than Tom Brady? It's criminal. This is not about winning and losing. At this point, I want to know how long before Kevin Stefanski get arrested for racketeering. Charged with racketeering, investigated. That's what I want to know. Because fixing games and rigging games, whether you're betting or whether you hate your quarterback, is illegal. And people said, spring, summer, and the fall, Kevin Stefanski is sabotaging Shedeur. And after this game with Wristband gate, everybody now sees it. And the crazy part is he didn't just manipulate the O-line. He had to take it one step further and make sure that every time they started on offense, they was in their own goddamn end zone. Do you really think people don't know the difference? Do you really think we don't know the difference? When you put KT Leviston out there and he rolled around in the grass game after game, and we know he's not the best right tackle that's available because it's documented. Andrew Berry brought in Cornelius Lucas to replace Jack Conklin, and that he don't ever put Cornelius Lucas out there. Kevin Stefanski is obvious with it because he wants y'all to know. That's why the media keep pointing at him, because he keeps smiling. He keeps showing you what he's doing. So I asked the question, How long before Kevin Stefanski is investigated for fixing and rigging games because he don't like his black quarterback, which is racketeering? This is not if Shedeur gonna go out here and beat Josh Allen. The game is rigged already. The only reason it's not rigged is if the alphabet boys show up in beret. And they're like, oh shit. Just like Haslam made a call after Stefanski started running them Wildcats when Coach Prime was there. Let's say Shedeur has a good game. Coach Prime need to go back over there. And he need to take some gold jackets with him. There need to be some damn accountability around here. And you want people to pay $300 to watch Stefanski sabotage Shedeur? You out your damn mind. Ain't nobody paying for that. That's why the views are not up right now on Netflix and Amazon. Nobody's paying for that. But Netflix and Amazon should have studied the black NFL QB history before they eat them damn deals. And they would have known chances are Pat Mahomes ain't going to make it. Because, you know, Pat Mahomes is black. 17-32. But I guess they didn't do their homework. But the fans did their homework, and they sick of it. Everybody knows Stefanski set up Shedeur last week and going to set up Shedeur next week. Shedeur got to be smart enough to know they're not going to let you play your game. So all you can do is stay healthy so you don't end up like Pat Mahomes. And that's their excuse for taking you out and benching you. It's not worth it, bro. It's not worth it. If you want to be in this league where they discount black quarterbacks and don't want 17, 18, 19, or 20 black starting quarterbacks, so much so that you got black quarterbacks in college going back to college, you got to be smart and understand this is not Colorado. You can't save the Browns because the Browns don't want to be saved. The wide receivers don't want to even catch the ball. You're going to get hurt around O-linemen that choose to roll around in the dirt and dirt dive. They're going to catch you back there trying to wait for somebody to get open. You're going to have to move smarter, young man. Your job is to keep yourself safe and uninjured like Deshaun Watson because you ain't got $230 million. Ain't nobody paying you for your injuries. So, Shedeur being sacked, Shedeur being sabotaged, Shedeur O-line choosing when and where to block, Jerry Jeudy choosing when and where to catch the ball, Shedeur's wristband being snatched, Stefanski pulling him out the game after the game clock go. It's all intentional. So, what Michael Strahan predicted, what the NFL knew would happen, Shedeur would elevate the game. And like Pat Mahomes, he would have multiple championships. The only way Shedeur gonna struggle is if Kevin Stefanski still has a job and he's allowed to sabotage and fix the game, rig it so Shedeur will lose. So Shedeur does not get to a point where he could get to a championship 3 times. So he is not in the same conversation as Tom Brady's name. So he is not the next Pat Mahomes. So he's not Joe Burrow going to the Super Bowl, or Jaden Daniels going to the Super Bowl, or CJ Stroud being a phenom in his rookie year. It's staged. It's not about whether he will win or lose versus the Bills. They have already decided that. The game is rigged against Shedeur. And it's a lot of people rigging this game. And you know it's rigged because they've been sabotaging it for weeks. Persistent sabotage is rigging and fixing games. And I will remind you again, racketeering is illegal and it is the first word in RICO. And I know people think, oh, that will never happen. All right. Some people never thought baseball would be a dying sport. Some people never thought hockey wouldn't be of interest to people. Some people never thought that NASCAR would invite black people in. Some people never thought that Michael Jordan would have 100 lawyers and launch a class action suit against NASCAR and win. These leagues can be taken down. It's just a matter of time. And everything Stefanski has done has been recorded. And since nobody's interested in stopping the rigging and fixing of games and the sabotage of a phenom like Shiloh Sanders' career. Thankfully, it's all recorded. Thankfully, it's all recorded. And all Shiloh Sanders can do for these last 3 trap games is stay safe and uninjured from harm by your own O-line. Because that's exactly what took down Anthony Richardson. And as you can see, when Daniel Jones, they gave Daniel Jones, Anthony Richardson job, did they go back to Anthony Richardson? No, they went and got Phillip Rivers off of his damn couch. He looked like a damn offensive coordinator out there. 250 plus pounds. And they quick to say he'll be back to start next week. What you are seeing is how a whites-only country club operates. You get in by recommendation, and the black people are pushed out of or kept out of or restricted from leadership positions. The quarterback position is a leadership position on the team, the most important position on the team. And Stefanski has made it his mission to make sure Shedeur is not seen as successful in that role in Cleveland. The NFL right now, when it comes to black quarterbacks, have returned themselves to 1968 levels of racism against black quarterback, including injury. So it ain't about is Shedeur gonna beat the Bills? Hell no. If so, they must don't like Josh Allen no more. And that $330 million investment just gonna go belly up. And I don't think that's gonna happen. They're using these games to devalue him so that he stays in Cleveland behind whoever the hell they want to get from somewhere, probably Matt Jones, and make him QB1. Or he's traded like Jameis Winston to another team as a 3 or a 4. And he got to climb his way up to a 2 or a 1 again. And yeah, it's likely possible, but he don't deserve all that. He don't deserve all of that. And while Shedeur is waiting on the Lord, he might need to start thinking about just how much of his youth is he going to donate to the NFL rather than go somewhere else and ball out. See, quarterbacks going to college right now, returning to college, is the same as Warren Moon choosing to go to Canada instead of the NFL so they don't get devalued because they see it. And I'm glad they see it. I was hoping that they would see it. Now I need Dante Moore to see it. But I know he got people in his ear. So I suggest he get an intimate relationship with Christ like Shedeur got so you can know what to do. Of course, they pressing him to come out because they know what they're going to do. The Browns have had 11 quarterbacks under Kevin Stefanski's tenure, and they want to get a 12th. Stefanski is a failed coach, and they want to give him another opportunity to destroy a phenom quarterback that's black. No coincidence, Dante Moore's name has not been associated with any other team other than the receptacle that the Browns have made itself, where they already got 2 other black elite QBs who they are holding back. So you just want to put black quarterbacks on a shelf. Whites only country club mentality. All these white quarterbacks coming out in the draft, and you want to get Dante Moore to Cleveland. Why you don't want him to go to the first team off the board like the Raiders? Why you don't send him over there? Because you don't want him to be the highest paid player again this year, like Caleb, then Cam, now Dante Moore. Why he got to be pigeonholed to the Browns? Just like Shedeur was pigeonholed to the Giants, and we knew that wasn't going to happen. Dante Moore, you got to do your homework. If it's on you to go back to Oregon, you go back to Oregon. They only want to push you out so they can get another black quarterback and set him up. They think it's an assembly line around here. It's disgusting. But it's up to these players not to let themselves be used and played like a baby seal to a goddamn orca. That's on y'all now. You know what it is. You know what it's not. The only way Shedeur gonna struggle is if Stefanski still have a job and can set him up. And if Shedeur knows Stefanski is the one calling the plays, then Shedeur got to outsmart Stefanski to stay safe. You ain't going to win because I don't know who you're going to throw the ball to. That's why he could win at Colorado and overcome the sabotage with the 2 offensive coordinators that were there. because he had receivers that wanted to catch the ball. He don't have that. One of his main targets is in triple coverage, damn near every time. So you're going to have to draw up some plays to overcome that, but you don't even know who you could trust to teach the damn plays to. Now, the two of y'all can't be the one to get it done unless y'all come up with some off-schedule plays that don't nobody know about but you and the person you trying to throw it to. You, like I said, Lamar Jackson want to get past the AFC Championship, he gonna have to call a damn audible that his coach don't know nothing about. I'm on camera saying that. And Shedeur gonna have to play the same way. And I don't even know if he can play like that. Obviously, you need what the hell is on that damn wristband, which is why they took it. So now everybody on the same page. A failed coach is sabotaging a rookie phenom quarterback whose name is already in a conversation with Pat Mahomes, Joe Burrow, or Tom Brady. Now, why would somebody allow a failed coach to destroy a player that can elevate the game, make it exciting for fans to want to come and watch and spend $300 and spend 4 hours at a time to gather and watch it? Why would you want a coach to do something like that? Because in the draft, 32 owners passed up on Shedeur, and 13 quarterbacks that he's better than was drafted. And like Stefanski, they don't want to be wrong either. There's a lot of people here who messed up big time. And it's just cover up after cover up after cover up. And the only way Haslam would allow Stefanski to destroy his brand and associate it with corruption and racketeering and illegalities is if he was one of the 32 that passed up on Shedeur with the intent to devalue Shedeur. That's it. So like I said, they get desperate. They out here stealing wristbands. Hell, they might leave him in Cleveland accidentally and let the plane take off without him because they desperate. And they know you can't say he's a bad player. So we have to find another way for these last 3 games to set him up because nobody's going to believe he isn't good. Look for the play, Shiloh Sanders and everybody around him. Somebody over there ought to have a goddamn conscience and send some anonymous information to some news stations, shit. Send it to my email with some receipts. Because this is ridiculous. If we can see it from the outside, I know it's gross on the inside. We can see the sabotage from the outside, looking in. So we know the people on the inside know, including the little girl who's running around telling Shedeur, oh, there you go. I got to keep you out of trouble. And this man is in street clothes, which is indicative of the fact that he's off the clock. That's how gross it is. So let me show y'all some of this information that came in right before, and this will show you that as long as the current ownership Haslam is in place, the Browns are cooked. The Browns are cooked. Stefanski is just an extension of Haslam. That's it. That's obvious after this point. That's why he thinks he did good work. All right, so as I pointed out right before I went live, I had already posted, right? Somebody was replying to me. Hold on one second. Somebody was replying to me because I said, hold on one second. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, I posted this. Let me make sure y'all can see my screen. Okay, good. Good job. All right, I posted this. I posted that the Browns sabotaged this guy too. His name is Deshone Kizer. He went to Notre Dame. It said left him on the field to go 0-15 week after week after week after week for 15 weeks, right? The method here was draft and destroy. This was a 2nd round pick, okay? And somebody came back and replied this is what happened. It said Kizer was drafted by Sashi Brown. I think Sashi Brown is the black Harvard grad that Anita told me about that worked for Haslam, and Haslam called him Obama, who Haslam could not stand. Sashi Brown was a black Harvard grad, just like who? Andrew Berry is a black Harvard grad. And as you could see, Andrew Berry gets undermined after going out here and getting a rookie phenom as a quarterback for a deep discount, and all of the entire rookie roster he put together, including Cornelius Lucas, who's not a rookie. But you can see how Kevin Stefanski is undermining Andrew Berry. And because of the leadership structure with the independent reporting, meaning Haslam reports directly, Stefanski reports directly to Haslam, and Berry separately reports directly to Haslam, you could see that he could play one against the other. He could appear one way to Berry. Yeah, go ahead and get Shedeur. But then telling Stefanski, you go ahead and you get Dylan. You advocate for Dylan, and I'm going to get both. So it says, Kizer was drafted by Sashi Brown, the black Harvard grad, to be a one-year bridge to the next draft. So just the bridge. And this guy, I think, was a second-round pick. So he wasn't expected to be franchised, because you don't get your franchise QB out the second round. It said his second year, Kizer would have been QB2. So it says Sashi Brown planned on drafting Lamar Jackson in the upcoming draft, just like Andrew Berry was planning to draft Shedeur. It's documented. Andrew Berry was planning to draft Shedeur. It said Sashi Brown planned on drafting Lamar Jackson in the upcoming draft, but Haslam fired him. And then he turned around and hired Ken Dorsey. Remember, they fired Ken Dorsey last year as a scapegoat after Deshaun got injured and Stefanski took off his headset and gave it to Dorsey, and Dorsey got booted out. So you see how the rotating doors work? So Sashi was going to go in and get Lamar, but got fired before he could get Lamar. Haslam fired him before he could get Lamar and hired Ken Dorsey, who they fired last year because he was a scapegoat for Stefanski losing and only winning 3 games. Dorsey named Baker Mayfield instead. So Ken Dorsey got Baker Mayfield instead of Lamar Jackson. Remember, there was collusion against Lamar Jackson. So Haslam fired Ken Dorsey, his black Harvard grad, so he don't get Lamar. That shows you how extreme these people are willing to be. So they get Baker Mayfield, and they let this guy go 0-15 because they didn't value him. And they didn't value Lamar Jackson. And this man lost his job because he was going to get a player like Lamar who could elevate the game, and did. Quarterbacks are compared to Lamar Jackson. We want that type of player. So much so they said Shedeur is not like Lamar Jackson, so he's not valuable. That's the lie. Lamar Jackson and Shiloh Sanders are valuable, which is why when they played in a game together this year, they didn't let you know Shedeur was going to play because they didn't want to talk about it. They didn't want it to be the most marketed and exciting game like the Titans or the Rookie Bowl. Yeah. The extremes they go through to suppress these black quarterbacks is head spinning. It's crazy how much effort and time they put into suppressing black elite starting quarterbacks. That you would fire your GM just so he can't get it. Then when Andrew Berry comes along and he want to get Shedeur, oh, I forgot, we still got Deshaun. You've been having Deshaun since 2022. Now, what does this say right here? Sashi Brown planned on drafting Lamar Jackson in the upcoming draft, but Haslam fired him and hired Ken Dorsey. You already heard me say Ken Dorsey got the shaft. What happened to Baker Mayfield? He got the shaft because the Browns decided to be a receptacle and 13 teams wanted to get Deshaun. But he ended up going to a team that refuses to let him play more than half the season, where he stays injured and the insurance company pays his tab. So Baker Mayfield got the shaft. Sashi Brown got the shaft. Deshone Kizer got the shaft. Ken Dorsey got the shaft. Guess who's going to get the shaft next? Deshaun Watson. Dante Moore, you don't want to come here. Go back to school. This ain't about football. And if you choose to come out, understand what it is. And like Shedeur, go study all his press conferences. Perfect answers every time. They asked Shedeur, was he worried about losing his job? He said, you know what league this is? Anybody could lose their job any given day. I know that's right. That's how you should be, because they think he going to go home and cry like Kevin Stefanski if Shedeur don't get his way. Shedeur is more mature than Kevin Stefanski. I told y'all months ago, Kevin Stefanski is not fit to hold Shedeur's cleats. He's a failure of a coach, but he's willing to do the unthinkable to Black phenomenal quarterbacks. That's why he has the lowest paying job as a coach. It was replaced after a Black coach refused to be incentivized to lose. Racketeering. So that was the tea that I got right before this started, and that clarified a lot of things. I already said, I think it was last week we were talking, I said the Browns were toxic before Stefanski, and this just cleared up everything. This just cleared up everything. The extremes that they are willing to go. Firing your GM because he gonna get a Black guy because you didn't want one. The Browns have never had a Black quarterback drafted in the first round. The GM, Sashi Brown, was fired when they was gonna get Lamar. Surprisingly, Andrew Berry still has a job. I mean, how the hell would it look if you fire Andrew Berry because he wanted to get Shedeur? So you had to come up with an excuse that you still got Deshaun, but you're going to have Deshaun next year. So you can't get Dante Moore. And that's a good thing for Dante Moore. You can't even get Mendoza. And that's a good thing for Mendoza. So if you couldn't get Shedeur, you can't get nobody else. And if Stefanski still work there, y'all better go back to school. Show these people you know your worth. So shout out to the soothsayer historian for that. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I appreciate that tea. Like I said, that was right before I even came on. So I had to hurry up and read it. All right. Once again, people are asking for you to fire Bubba Ventrone. I think that's the special teams coach. And they ain't gonna fire him because they like losing.
First drive at some point.
Stefanski talking about
the first drive
armband that y'all told me about last night. I heard about it, didn't know what happened. And honestly, last night I didn't even want to look into it because I'm just sick of the sabotage. I'm sick of the corruption. I'm sick of rigged and fixed games, right? It's all documented and they don't want to do nothing about it. So why should I waste my damn time? That's exactly how I felt last night. It says, so what happened with Shedeur's Sanders wristband on Sunday? So this is his answer, apparently.
What happened was the obviously had the wristband. It was good on the first drive. At some point after the first drive, one of the cards must have fallen out of Shedeur's wristband. So when he went to that panel to look for it, it wasn't in there. Obviously grabbed it. We have Bailey on the sideline, have Dylan on the sideline where he can swap out and grab their wristband. So you always have to be prepared for those type of things. You have to be prepared for if the headset goes out, you have to have those automatics that you have to get to.
Oh, that must be next. The headset gonna go out. All right.
The headset goes out. And similarly, while that's very rare, you have to be ready if something like that were to.
It's got to be rare. It's got to be rare for the quarterback's armband to go missing. It has to be rare.
Okay, that's right, exactly. So just I was giving him the wristband number, but like I said, the coach to quarterback wasn't out, so you can still communicate that way until
the headset go out. Whatever. Honestly, I don't. Stefanski don't have no credibility. He just really don't. Jerry Jeudy don't have none either. Neither one of them. They just decided to blow themselves and their reputations up. So to be honest with you, it don't really matter. It really doesn't. It doesn't matter what they say. Nobody really believes them. We just know every week is something they do to hold Shedeur back. I mean, that's just what it is. Instead of Sunday tradition, I'm actually having a nice week. But when it comes to the Brown, not anymore. And I think that's what happened to me after my last live stream is somewhere between midday. It's like I had to, say, look, when you know what it is, you move accordingly. And I say that about Shedeur, but that's also for me and fans and Shedurians that follow Shedeur. Move accordingly. The first thing you have to do is level set your expectations. And we see Shedeur doing that with his answers. Are you worried about losing your starting job? They want him to break down and cry. He said, "This, you know what league this is? Anybody could lose their starting job." Perfect answer. So what do? Level set our expectations. These are 4 trap games. Don't be foolish and think he can overcome with no receivers a weak O-line. Not many people can. He overcame at Colorado because he had receivers that wanted to catch the ball. And yes, he had an armband so he could call audibles. But the most important thing is he had receivers who wanted to win. Shedeur don't have that. And that's probably one of the reasons why Coach Prime said he didn't even want to coach in the NFL, because these grown adults are not really emphatic and passionate about the game. You think Jerry Jeudy passionate about football? No. He don't even play like it. It's obligatory for him because he has guarantees. So if I want the money, I just got to go through the motions. And that's what the NFL is going to become, because they're looking for people like Jerry Jeudy. They're looking people for like Gardner, who says stupid shit and don't even really know what's going on, but think that, oh, it's good, Shedeur. It's about time he had a bad game and rookies learn to stay in their place. Like, really? If you are intellectual, this league is just not for you. Like, I feel like my brain cells are dying faster every time I listen or learn about a player like Jerry Jeudy or Gardner. Like, y'all just ignorant. Y'all just really ignorant. And that's why they think y'all ignorant, because y'all act ignorant. But see, when they get to somebody like Shedeur or Jalen Hurts, or whether it's Pat Mahomes or CJ Stroud, when they get to quarterbacks who are intellectuals, that's why the NFL don't know what to do, because they used to the ignorance. But that's what they want. They're not going to ask Shedeur to rig a game, but they somehow can get these receivers to do it. The Browns not the only team who receivers start running on the route. It happened to Jameis Winston. Some of these people so easily on the take, it's a shame. It's painful. And these are their own quarterbacks. Absolutely no integrity. And this is a league-wide virus, which is why fans were like, anybody else notice how mediocre the play is? Yep. Nobody wants to spend 4 hours with this. Nobody wants to listen to the ignorance. People were expecting more. This is disappointing. Instead, they trying so hard to sabotage Shedeur. Fact, everybody knows it. And they went right back to this little skit. They went right back to the skit that we talked about, that we said, is it reality or is it just a skit?
Offense.
Oh, yes, sir. We're finna win this. Hey, yo, Coach, what you want us to run? Coach, what you want us to run?
Do I look like the offensive coordinator to you? Do I look like the damn offensive coordinator to you?
Glory to God.
God damn, get out my face.
Hey, it's coming to you. It's coming to you, baby. Yeah, let's go. Let's go. Come on.
Hey, hold on. You're not Superman, all right? Don't get out there trying to be him.
What you mean?
I'm saying you're not Superman. You're a human, right?
Yeah.
All right, you're a human. I'm saying you can drop a ball or two, you can catch one, but like
What?
drop a ball or two. That's all I'm saying.
Wait, so you want me to drop a ball?
No, I didn't say that shit. You mic'd up, ain't you? I didn't say that shit. I did not say that.
Oh, no.
Right. Not stupid enough to get caught bribing a player or asking a player to throw the game, but we'll go through extreme measures to get a player to throw the game.
I said you're human.
I don't understand what
No,
you're
just
saying.
go. Just go. Damn.
I
You sorry anyway. You ain't finna catch
I
it.
just don't.
Yeah, all right. Dylan, he not finna do that good. Don't even worry about it. 44-yard pass from Shedeur Sanders caught. Touchdown. By Fannin. Oh, my God. The placement on that ball, fucking amazing. This guy is something. Why'd you drop that? Why you dropped that fucking play, nigga? Hell yeah.
Yeah, let's
Good
go.
job, team. Hey, Coach, that was good. That was good play, Coach. That was good play, Coach.
Yeah, because that's what them.
Let's go. Let's go.
Can't get no love, no kind of appreciation, no attaboys when you catch a ball from Shedeur and it goes well. In fact, you might get bitched.
Yeah. Hey, let me holler at you. You caught that ball like you Randy Moss out there.
That shit was crazy.
That shit was crazy. You saw a tight end though, so it was like Gronkowski type shit.
I appreciate that.
Why the fuck you do that shit with Dylan, nigga?
He never threw the ball to me, coach.
Yes, he did. He threw the ball to
But they
me.
weren't good passes. Don't
Say that shit again, nigga. Take the helmet off.
Coach, I don't understand. Are we not trying to win?
I think you racist, nigga. You ain't catch this. You ain't trying.
He told me, I think you racist. Because Dylan didn't throw him the ball, so he couldn't catch it. That's crazy. I didn't even hear that last time.
Catch like that with Dylan. I'm not racist. Don't do that again, boy.
What?
So understand. These might be skits, but I swear, after every game, they're reality, right? After every game, they're reality. And it's just what it is, right? You got these people who, we ain't even talking about bettors. We talking about, like the skit said, they just don't like Shedeur. You just don't want Shedeur to be the guy. You want Dylan to be the guy, but because Dylan can't reach it, because he's not that guy, you want to get everybody to let Shedeur down, not catch the ball, whether it's Harold Fanny Jr. and some others out there, right? So, yeah, we probably gonna have a watch party. I had to think long and hard, and I'm not 100% certain, but I do have access to the game. But we can't look at it with the win or lose. We just got to look at it and see what has God done today. That's it. We got to look at the game like, let's see what God did. Let's see what God has done, because something got to shake, and, let's make sure Shedeur don't get hurt, because we still rolling with you 12, right? We still rolling with Shedeur. We know it ain't on him. I am happy to see that the larger platforms and networks are calling out the sabotage. Again, I don't hear nobody calling for the saboteur to be fired. And that's what's, I would say, disappointing. It's not disappointing. It's disgusting. It's disgusting that there's the lack of accountability in the NFL like there is. And you wonder why people on Netflix will go rather watch Stranger Things. Anyway, let me see what y'all saying. So let me get in here and see what y'all saying. I'm going to put some music on while I read these comments. Hit the like button. Welcome, everybody. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Okay, there's a lot of people, so it's taking me a while to get to the top of the comments. All right, so shout out to everybody. Shout out to everybody. Who is that? Paula, how you doing? Hey, Paula, how you doing? See you at 10:45. All right, 10:35. Did I put 10:45? Hey, everybody, how you doing? How you doing? Hey, Miss Pamela. Hey, chat. Grand evening. Shedeur is him. Yes, a young king. Facts. Let's get it. Raina, welcome back. What's up? Hey, everybody. Hey, Donnie, how you doing? Welcome. Shiloh is good enough to play for some of these sorry teams. Shiloh need to replace number 26. Pardon? They need Shiloh. You know what? In a divine intervention, get the hell rid of Stefanski, send Jerry Jeudy packing, keep Andrew Berry, keep Shedeur, keep Harold Fanny Jr., keep Quishon Junkins, Dylan Sampson, and I think, who else is it? I don't know about number 68, but I saw him push somebody out the way for Shedeur. So question mark him. Get rid of 26 and get Shiloh, make him number 28. Wide receivers. Get 2 wide receivers out the first round. They ain't gonna do it, but get 2 wide receivers out the first round. And you got yourself a championship team next year. Facts. All you need is some receivers and you need some O-linemen. But Andrew Berry got Cornelius Lucas and they won't even let him play. So you probably gonna have to get him out the draft. And they have 10 draft picks. I say you load up on wide receivers and you load up on O-linemen and the Browns can shake something next year. But Haslam is the obstacle to that. Haslam is the obstacle to that. If he fires Sashi Brown before getting Lamar Jackson and let Deshone Kizer go 0-15 and let Stefanski continuously sabotage the best quarterback coming out in 2025 and 2026, Haslam is the obstacle to this team winning. So it doesn't matter how stellar of a draft class Andrew Berry put together or how phenomenal of a quarterback Shedeur is. The owner is the problem. And I think Mike Florio said that about 2 weeks ago. By Stefanski. I know that's right. It's hard to watch these public humiliation rituals. That's just not what they are. I wish they not that. They not public humiliation rituals. They are draft to destroy events. They're not public. They're not trying to humiliate them. They're trying to destroy their careers. Look at every black quarterback that has been to Cleveland since Haslam brought the team, since 2012. It said, and that Diego Pavia talked all of that crap and he didn't get half of the bad press Shedeur got, right? It said exactly the abusive sabotage by the coach and some teammates that are participating in it. Facts. That's exactly what it is. I got upset that G. Bush was bashing and trashing Shedeur, even had the nerve to say Shedeur lost progress, while Tony Dorsey and all the hated media was saying Shedeur was okay. Here's the thing about the Cleveland podcasters, right? We've talked about this. Other than whatever platform the former player Henry Dixon, number 29, was on, you can't. All of them podcasters want access to the Browns, media passes, media day. They want to be seen. They want to be paid. They all have agendas. And I've even pointed it out. Tony, I swear, Shedeur converting Tony Dorsey is his accomplishment from a spiritual perspective, because that man, oh Lord, if you go back and listen to his earlier rants, and he did not like Shedeur. And when I had the opportunity to listen to that press conference, and I told y'all one of those reporters was upset with Stefanski and was like, why did you take Shedeur out the game? That was Tony Dorsey. Shedeur, and I don't know if Shedeur just talking to him man to man. Why you hating on me, Tony? I don't know what did it. I don't know if it was his play. I don't know what it was. But he has converted that man into a believer. Like, for real. Like, no pretending at all. To the point he upset with Stefanski. That's Shedeur's accomplishment. So, next time we watch, we're going to be looking to see what God do, because we already know they're going to try to take him down. We just got to see how much Shedeur going to be able to overcome and stay safe. Stay safe. Because I definitely don't want to see no injury. They said the last 4 games are trap games. Right. And I said that, whenever they named him, I was looking at the video earlier today from when I said these last 4 games are trap games. Yep. It said always follow the pattern to see the playback. That's it, political ill. It says Stefanski needs to go. This is all being done on purpose. Yep. And I think everybody finally sees it. Jeudy is sniffing for some notorious manumissions. Yeah, I would agree with that. It says Shedeur threw 3 interceptions and 0 touchdowns. He played okay in college. I don't get the hype, because it's not hype. But what you should get is a healthy dose of sabotage. Shedeur is a dog. Like, you don't throw 393 yards on a fluke when somebody make a phone call that says, I need you to let Shedeur play while his dad here. Let's say Shedeur has a good game. That was supposed to be like an agreement. Like, let's say Shedeur has a good game. Yeah, we have a good game. And he had one. And then Stefanski went right back. All they trying to do is tell you. They're trying to tell Shedeur what they've been telling Shedeur. Stefanski's message: we don't want you, we don't value you, and nobody gonna check me, boo. That's Stefanski's message. The 32 owners that took Shedeur off the board, we're not gonna let you play your game. That's why they're not holding Stefanski accountable. You're gonna have to play our game. It's our game or no game. When we said Stefanski was trying to break Shedeur, that's fact. Because he said they have standards for the position. It's not that Shedeur don't fit the standard. They know they can't ask Shedeur to take a dive, because they want to control the outcomes of the game. And maybe because they have betting partners, that's when people keep saying it's all rigged. Just look at the spread and look at how things go. Well, I'm not a bettor, so I can't speak to that. But I can speak to what I see with my own eyes. And Stefanski is allowed to sabotage Shedeur. And because Stefanski wasn't there with Hugh Jackson and Deshone Kizer, and it happened to Haslam, who's part of the group that took Shedeur off the board and said he was entitled. The part that are the people pushing the 17 to 32 agenda. They're not going to let Shedeur play his game. And they keep sending him that message. And that's why you hear me say, if you want to be in the NFL going forward, you're going to have to be willing to be controlled. Not your personality. Not about your blackness or your hair this time. About whether you take a dive. Facts. Think about Jerry Jeudy. What do I have to do to get Jerry Jeudy, who makes $41 million, make himself look like an ass? What do I have to do? That's the kind of players they want to recruit. Shedeur is not taking no damn dive for no damn football game. He's not going to jeopardize his reputation to look like a sellout, to sell out his own teammates. And you know, you would think situations like that are a test of your character. No, they already tested your character when they told you to share a locker with Flacco, and you did it. And they tested your character when they had you palling around with Dylan. And they tested your character after you said Shedeur was ready, and you went along with whatever they wanted you to back off of. They're not testing his character. They got him because of his character. And he made a choice. Because he was one of the people that said Shedeur was ready, just like Denzel Ward. And you notice they set Denzel Ward out. They piecemealing Myles Garrett and breaking this record. They gave him half a damn sack. He should be at 2. He had 1.5 for this game. To all of the people who spoke out about Shedeur, Wyatt Teller retaliated against, and nobody will say or do anything. They're not testing Jerry Jeudy's character. They know they got him. And I was a fan of Jerry Jeudy's until then. Because guess what? At the end of the day, you ain't going to be in the NFL for long. The No Fun League is not for long. And you sold out your entire team because your head coach and maybe ownership don't want a black quarterback to win in their town. You helped to contribute to the sabotage. You were a willing participant. You should have just said no and let God take care of the rest. Your contract guaranteed. What the hell you thought they was going to do? It says Shedeur through it. So basically, here's the thing, Carter. If you want to see the foolishness, you'll see it. Believe me, if you look for it, it's there. But Shedeur didn't start playing football this year, so we're not gonna run down his resume to you. You choose to see what you want to see. It said, "Hey family, these people are frustrated." Yup. Hey Peter, how you doing? It said everyone Stefanski needs to be locked up. I know that's right. I'm ready for the investigations to start. It says 6-25 is still coaching. Sounds like some hidden agendas, right? Because who the hell only wins 6 games in 2 years? Like, that's just lame. And I don't know which game they're going to win next. I mean, I guess they're going to take Shedeur out because that's what they did last year. Remember I showed you yesterday how they rotated the quarterback? See, all of that, Dylan was a concussion? That was a way to get him out. That was a way to get him out. Just like saying Shedeur could play in a preseason game because Dylan didn't hurt. They had to give Shedeur an opportunity. They wanted to make it seem like you only get to play if something's going on with Dylan. As if Dylan was better than Shedeur. Stefanski should have been fired for that. So like you said, there's some kind of hidden agenda here. I don't think it's hidden. I think it's 17-32. I think the owners didn't want to get Shedeur. They didn't want Shedeur drafted in the first round because like Cam, he would have been QB1 this year. And when day 1 of the draft finished, there would have been 17 black starting quarterbacks. That's why this season they've been whittling away because the draft is coming. But now some of these guys are going back to school and I'm very proud of them. And why they find something else to do. Find something else to do. But get that bag. And the colleges will love it because they want to win. Kevin losing the locker room and the media. Facts. And you know what, Coach? You so right about that. You know what? Kevin thought they was going to be clamoring all over Shedeur. Oh, no. Some of the people who used to be the biggest haters. Tony Grossi said Shedeur never stood a chance. And that's facts. They didn't expect that. See, They keep trying to hold Shedeur back, and it keeps backfiring, but they don't quit. They don't quit. And Haslam not going to do what's right until Congress or the alphabet boys show up to force him. That's how he get down. Or Coach Prime. And that's shameful. Because he not interested. He not into this for the fans. I don't even know why he on the team. He don't give a damn about it. He just seemed to like to pull the strings as to who get the nod. That's just crazy. It said they initially wanted to redshirt 12. How the hell you gonna redshirt the best quarterback in the draft? They didn't want to redshirt him. They didn't even want him. They wanted him to be undrafted, begging, lowly, crying. They wanted him to be able to cry and snivel and say, yeah, I'll do whatever you say. No. Shedeur could have took his talents elsewhere. He still can. And he still might. If he gets tired of it, he like, screw it, I'm gone. Shedeur is 23. 23. He can devote a year to this to see if it get better. Because God opened the door. And then if God closed it, he gonna be straight. And we gonna be wherever he at, long as football is being played. Shout out to Shiloh. He just dropped another video. I don't know if y'all watched it, where he was furniture shopping. Let me know if y'all watched it. Shiloh said it. He loves the content space. And said, my husband is a technical football fan. Even he was like, I can't believe this Sabotage, Shedeur. He never said it before. Yeah, that's what it is. That's just what it is. Why Shedeur covering up for Kevin about the wristband? I don't think he was covering up. I think Shedeur just got so many answers and he just gotta skirt around stuff. Trying to be politically correct. That's it right there. It said G. Bush flip-flops when he's around his crew as opposed to when he's done. He's not sincere at all. Some of these podcasts are clickbait and making money off Shedeur's name. I agree with that. See, y'all got to remember, like, I like sports, right? Some people, they just see the train and just hop on it and just say whatever, right? They just say whatever. They're not passionate about it. They see it as an opportunity. That's it. An opportunity for clicks. Things that really make you go, yep. It's that there are several clips floating around showing Judas leaving in line late after the ball is snapped. Oh, okay. Yeah. I just know everybody talks about how good of a pass it was. NFL is not worth it for black athletes. They think it is, Tina. They obviously think it is. And maybe we don't understand what it is. It looks ritualistic. I just wish it was, but it's not a ritual. These are people's real lives that they are playing with. And sometimes it just seems like the power structure in the NFL makes it black versus white, black men versus white men. That's why I liken it to a country club type atmosphere. You have to be referred in, you have to be chosen, right? And most of the white people are chosen and they pick and choose the black ones they want to come in and to serve, right? And the black quarterbacks get it the worst because they're considered leaders, and that's not what they planned on. They have actually banned black players from being quarterbacks. That's why I said they're at 1968 levels of racism. When you have Marlon Briscoe being a good and successful quarterback for the Denver Broncos, and they're like, yeah, that's good and all, but we don't want you to be our quarterback because you're black. In 2025, you cannot say that. So what you have to say is what Stefanski said. We have standards for this position. Dog whistle. Dog whistle. When people say Stefanski can't stand Shedeur, it ain't just Shedeur Stefanski can't stand. Because as white Browns fans have pointed out, Stefanski tried to break Deshaun Watson down into a game manager. Who pays a quarterback $230 million and throws him to a failure of a coach to break down into a villain? Who does that? Somebody where that was always the goal. An owner who has never drafted a black quarterback in the first round. I would love to see the communicate on how it is Deshaun Watson got to Cleveland and what was promised. I would love to see that. Not to Deshaun, to the owner of the Browns. Because out of nowhere, they get a stadium and they ain't won shit. quid pro quo is also illegal. Told y'all, it's a lot of illegalities happening in Berea. It says Stefanski said Dylan put the cards in the wristband. I don't give a damn who put them cards in the wristband. That should have never been an issue. And why would you trust Dylan to help Shedeur do anything? I don't care nothing about that. It's just all foolishness. And it's going to be more foolishness next week. It's going to be more foolishness against the Bills. And it don't even should have to be. But it will be. It will be. So why anybody talking about Dylan did this with the cards? I mean, duh. I mean, come on now. It said when 12 was given the wrong wristband info, Trust walked out the door. Right. I mean, the trust shouldn't have been there nowhere at that point. But facts, what did Shedeur say? What is Shedeur's biggest talking point leading up to this game? Trust. And you're going to give the man the wrong wristband. If I'm him, it wouldn't even bother me. Like I said, it's just a reminder not to trust these fools. That's all it is. Shedeur is learning who he can take with him at the next level. And it ain't Dylan, it's Stefanski and a whole lot of other people. Good evening, good evening, good evening. It said Bucky was hot. He said after the game, man, I better get out of here. I want y'all to think about this, okay? The Browns invite Bucky to watch his brother get set up every week. The only time he ain't there, his brother get robbed. Then they coach Prime. They give him sweet hospitality. And the game start off with Stefanski doing Stefanski things. And then like a switch, it changes. And then the next week, it just go back and get 10 times worse than it was the week before. It shows you that they can turn it on and turn it off. They're telling you, let's just say Shedeur has a good game. Like, let's agree on that. And then it happens. And then it don't happen no more. And nobody holds Stefanski accountable. It's rigged. That's what proves it's rigged. In addition to the persistent sabotage. Let's just say Shedeur has a good game. Because you're here. Because you're here. Is that why none of the teams, like the Giants, didn't want to draft Shedeur because Coach Prime knows football? And they know they can't get away with what they got away with Deshone Kizer going 0-15? That's what I said it was. That's what I said it was. Instead of vitriol and hatred for Shedeur by Stefanski requires the story of Timothy James McCarthy being Stefanski's allegedly grandfather being revisited and gaining viral tracking in the media. Who are y'all talking about? That man is not his relative. Y'all got to stop doing that. They playing y'all with this story. I'm convinced they playing at the story so y'all can run with it. This is just as ridiculous as Shedeur having a clause in his contract after the way they stabbed Coach Prime in the back, named after Coach Prime. After the way they shunned, embarrassed, humiliated, and devalued Shedeur, that y'all think they would give Shedeur something special. They plant these stories so y'all can get off of what it really is. Racism. Because the NFL don't want to be found guilty of racism. Again. Even though they have 2 open cases moving through the courts. Instead of one for $1 billion saying that black players are dumber than white ones. And y'all aid and abet this type of foolishness without just Googling on the internet like I did. His family names are all out there. They not related. They don't match. Stop letting people play y'all. Please. Please stop. I'm like, come on now. Stop letting these people play y'all. Show up and don't do any interviews. Don't do any interviews without hating on the media. It said, Shedeur really has to protect himself. Kevin wants him hurt so he doesn't have to start him next year. I don't even know why Kevin has a choice in the matter, because it's crazy if he come back. But I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. I personally, knowing that they got Shedeur for $975,000, I don't think they want to trade him. I think they want to keep him there and put him on a shelf and humiliate him by not drafting another quarterback, but go and get a Mac Jones. Yeah. That's what I think. Unless they have a place for Dante Moore. But one thing I've noticed about Haslam, he refuses to pay a black quarterback in the first round money. And if he do that, they gonna be the starter. And maybe because Dante Moore went to Oregon, where Dylan went, maybe, just maybe. That's why I said pay attention to who his representation is. Right now, they say it's not listed. Let's see if it's David Mulligetta. Because David Mulligetta is the guy who brokered Deshaun Watson's deal, and he represents all of the big talented NFL players. So let's see who it is. The collusion of NFL black quarterbacks. Facts. That's just what it is. Shedeur just got to be a good game manager for the next 3 games. Right. He can't play his game, coach. That's facts. He has to break down to the game manager role that they tried to force on Deshaun. Don't play hero ball and don't take sacks. I don't think it's hero ball. I think it's the slap in the face to saying Shedeur is playing hero ball when he's just playing football. See, the problem is it's a punishment to try to break down Deshaun. What? A dual threat to a game manager. That's the slap in the face. That's an insult. I want you to play my game, not your game. And Kevin Stefanski had to concede to let Shedeur play off-schedule plays. And he said, okay, fine. But what did he do? He set him up to be behind. So Kevin does things begrudgingly. When he out here saying, yeah, Shedeur this, Shedeur that, he plotting. He already came up with the plot. And as you notice, they do these things for the public because he's allowed to go on to sabotage Shedeur even when Coach Prime was in the building. What does that tell you? That the team itself will put Stefanski in a position where he has to say the right things and do the right things in the public. But when it's game time, they let him just do whatever. So it tells you the team itself is posturing. It tells you the pressure is thick. It tells you Coach Prime is on the ground. But the agenda is still the agenda. And Stefanski don't want Shedeur to win one more game than Dylan. So he's willing to have his record be 3-3 or bench Shedeur and get somebody else out there to win. But he not letting Shedeur win 2 games over Dylan. Dylan is 1-5. The agenda is still the agenda, whether Coach Prime is there or not, whether the media, the pressure, it don't matter. The agenda doesn't change. It doesn't change. So yeah, Shedeur can't play his game, coach. You're right about that. He can't play his game, but it's not hero ball. That's a slap in the face. Shedeur's skill set elevated. To say it's hero ball is like he's trying to be different when he's just being himself. Shedeur, Lamar, Deshaun, all of these guys are good. Why do you think 13 teams wanted Deshaun? Because 13 teams knew that Deshaun was not the only one. But the NFL sought to punish Deshaun because they had to pay him $230 million because he asked for a trade. Just like if you ask me, they punish Travis because he asked for his money. And where is he? They go into the playoffs while his leg is hoisted up somewhere without him. And they did all of that to get him at number 2. People talk about the Browns want to win. You know the Browns don't want to win when they traded away Travis and Shedeur. It could have had both. It's documented. I don't want to win. And people going to be pissed off at this time next year because they still don't want to win. Because the agenda with Haslam is to do what? Lose for the next 3 years. He's okay with rebuilding from 2020 to 2028. It don't matter who the quarterback is. The same foolishness happened with a different quarterback. And it's ridiculous for Browns fans to say, well, yeah, let's get Mendoza. So you want to collect a 12th quarterback and Stefanski be the head coach. What you should be out here doing is showing up in Burrell with signs and applying pressure to fire Stefanski. But instead, you want to collect a 12th quarterback. That's not going to make no difference. And that's why the whole thing is a mess. This is a franchise. Just ball it up and throw the whole damn franchise away and start over with somebody like Magic Johnson who wants to win games, who wants to be a successful franchise owner. And by success, I don't mean just make money off of losing. I mean, a winning franchise. That should be the priority, but that's not. And nobody's holding it accountable. The commissioner letting this foolishness happen. The owner aiding and abetting the criminality. Okay, all right, well, let's see. It's that what they gonna do? What they gonna do? Take his wrist next, or maybe his ankle? Maybe his ankle, because it's gonna be something. It's gonna be something. Understand that. If I let Deshone Kizer go 0-15, if I fired a black Harvard grad because he was gonna get a black quarterback in the first round named Lamar, and I end up with Baker, who's not black, but I send Baker on his way to get Deshaun, who's black and is owed $230 million after 25 civil lawsuits, but I don't let him play one whole season. This ain't about football in Cleveland. Cleveland is a detention center. Cleveland is a receptacle where they send people's careers to be trashed. And that might be how they got a damn stadium. Quid pro quo. Nothing is being done. No necessary changes are being made to put the team in a winning position other than Andrew Berry running out here and drafting people that Stefanski refuses to play to their proper level. Stefanski doesn't make adjustments on the O-line when KT Levingston decides to roll around in the grass. He keeps Joel Botonio out there, even though he was out there dirt diving. Shout out to 68. I finally saw somebody block for Shedeur and push somebody out the way. It was almost like he did it and didn't want nobody to see him doing it because he pushed the dude out the way and kept running. As if it wasn't going to be caught on camera, but shout out to Cam. I think KT Levingston sometimes is rolling around on the grass so we can see it and call out the fact that he's not the best person for the job and force Stefanski to make adjustments. Does Stefanski take Jeudy out when he make misses? No, because Jeudy is doing what he's supposed to do. That should tell you everything you need to know. The face of the league is a black QB. No, it is not. That's ridiculous. It's that Shedeur, just keep your head on a swivel and protect yourself at all times. For those people who not paying attention, Pat Mahomes didn't make it to the playoffs for the first time ever, conveniently, when 17-32 is the priority. I told you people don't really pay attention holistically. They're talking about, oh, the dynasty is over. Pat Mahomes had to be injured for him not to make the playoffs. How convenient. It's that Shador is good. He just had a game. Nah, that's not about that. It's not about that. Coach, you can't just shrug off of Shador having a game when you see the sabotage at the level that it is. You can't say, oh, it's just a game when you know Stefanski has been sabotaging Shador the whole time. Coach, that means you yourself refuse to hold Stefanski accountable for trying to destroy or disrupt a phenomenal quarterback's season, as well as the team and all of the players who work hard. They were talking to Myles Garrett about how to keep the players engaged through the last 3 games because there's still something to play for. I don't know how you are excited to play a game that you know from week 1 you're supposed to lose the whole season. You can only hire certain people with a certain mentality who not gonna run off and tell this thing is rigged. It's that he had to play with the second and third stringers. Right. People have pointed out, Sharon, that they have Shedeur O-line worse ranked than number 31 or 32 because he's playing with the 2s, the 3s, and the 4s. There's a 4th string O-line. Go look it up at the depth chart. He was out there in the game. I was like, who the hell is that? So the moment Shedeur got the opportunity to practice with the ones, Stefanski started reducing and weakening the O-lines to Shedeur's playing with the 2s, the 3s, and the 4s instead of the people he's actually practicing with. All of it's fake. It's just fake. It's just designed for Shedeur's season to end like his draft experience, with him being severely devalued because the owners took Shedeur off the board and they don't want to make it right. And they don't want to be proven wrong. This ain't about football. They know Shedeur can play football. Elaine, you can't be stuck on something that's not true, honey. I mean, the fact that you stuck on something that's not true, I don't know what to tell you. It said, I don't buy that he's a rookie Jazz. Right. I see straight through the sabotage. Right. The only people who say that are the people who don't want to muster up the effort to hold Stefanski accountable. That's it. And they probably being scammed in their own life and they don't want to admit it. That's all. Because there's a lot of people out here being scammed. That's just what it is. It said, Jeudy is really on his way to Gilligan's Island. Probably. Let's see if they try to get out of his guarantees. Yeah, I wouldn't give him nothing either. I wouldn't give him anything. I would not give him anything. The presser was interesting today. It said Daniel Oyefuse told Kevin, it says Shedeur Sanders has the second highest pressure rate and what he would do to help. Kevin didn't have much to say. Right, because he rigged the O-line like that. I'm just glad people could see it. People have pointed out, talking about no quarterback, no matter how good he is, can be successful behind that O-line. And people were saying, I think it was 68%, people were saying, how the hell do you want him to throw the ball away 68% of the time? That's not what a quarterback is. See, they take Shedeur's skill set and turn it into trash. That's why, and breaking him down to a game manager is the punishment, right? Because he's supposed to want to go along with that because he's so desperate to play. Understand, that's what it is. I keep saying, I don't know how the hell Dylan was successful at Oregon playing like that. But understand the reason that is happening. The reason for the game manager type play and them wanting to rebuild for 3 years. Who's coming out of school in 2027? He is not elite. They know they want to get the Manning kid. That's why when Ohio State lost, the first thing they put out was, well, we can't move Deshaun. That means I can't get nobody. These people are waiting on the Manning kid who's not elite. And only a game manager skill set, which will drive people crazy till that kid is out here, will make that kid look elite. He's not elite. And you can't have Shedeur balling out in Cleveland for 2 years before the Manning kid come out. And then he got to come out behind Shedeur. No, you can't have Shedeur nowhere in the league because then it's going to prove that he's better than Jackson Dart, JJ McCarthy. Shedeur elevates the game. They prefer the mediocrity because certain people can reach it. White fans have pointed out, Mendoza's not that guy. He's just 6'5". They don't even want him. They want the Manning kid. They knew that this year. They got thrown a monkey wrench. Why? Because the kid not supposed to be not coming out this year. But I ain't convinced. I think they'll do whatever to get that kid to come out this year. And we're going to see if Sharon Moore got fired when he got fired, when they were already knowing what was going on ahead of the game between Michigan and Texas. And now they're disrupting Bryce Underwood, another black quarterback. So you got Lenore Sellers going back to school. You got DJ Lagaway hopping in the transfer portal. You're going to have, I think Bryce Underwood is supposedly be hopping in the portal. And for all of those quarterbacks, only 2 schools keep coming up. LSU and Oregon. 3 quarterbacks can't go to 2 schools and they already got a quarterback. That should tell you how they pigeonholing these black quarterbacks. It's not happening to white quarterbacks coming out of college. And it's only happening to black quarterbacks in the NFL year because of 17 of 32. That's it. So the only people who say, oh, it's just his rookie year, they don't want to muster up the energy to hold the Browns accountable Hey, Edward, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Until Shedeur get injured. Yeah, we don't want that. We don't want that. We don't want that. Jerry was dropping passes in Denver. Cleveland had to be hiring a ball dropper. Right, they knew. They were hiring an asset. Not an asset to help the team win, but an asset in time of need. That should tell you how long these people been planning this bullshit. That's what people don't want to understand. These people knew in 2024, when the Vegas Super Bowl was happening, who were going to be the quarterbacks in the fall 2024 season. They already knew, because the Vegas Super Bowl was what, January, February, right? What happens after that? In April or May? In May of 2024, ESPN catalogs 10 to 15 quarterbacks who are going to be impactful. They use that information to pigeonhole people. They had Shedeur and Cam at the 8 and the 9 when they were the 1 and the 2 because they're black. They had Carson Beck at the 1. Is he even coming out this year? Why is he not being pigeonholed to Cleveland? No white quarterback is, because they all know what Cleveland is. Reserved for black quarterbacks where their careers go to be destroyed. From Deshone Kizer to Shiloh Sanders. Study everybody in between. It said if Stefanski was black, the NFL commissioner would be investigated. Hell yeah. He wouldn't even have a job. After his 3rd season, well, he has only won 2 seasons. He wouldn't have no job. So yeah, I totally agree with that. He would be investigated. It wouldn't just be the damn commissioner. Hell, the Alphabet Boys would be at his house and his kids' school. You best believe that. Jerry Jeudy is an asset. Understand that. They made him an asset. They made him an asset. They told him what it was when they had him sharing a goddamn locker with Flacco. Where's Flacco? So there was no point to that. Shedeur is elite. I can see it with my own eyes. Right. And everybody sees that, right? Everybody sees that. But what people don't want to understand, is why it's happening. Because they don't want to admit. If y'all notice, these people go through a lot to make sure you can't say they are what. To make sure you can't prove they are what. Even though they settled $1 billion lawsuit, a lot of people don't even know about that. Because it would kill. They want to be known as being as what they are. It's not even new. It's just the media don't talk about it, so a lot of people don't know. And they don't want to be accused of it, even though they in court for it twice. I mean, why would I want to be deemed as a racist league when 80% of the talent is black? That don't work out. How the fans gonna feel when they realize that I'm setting up Shedeur because he black, and I don't want the majority of the quarterbacks on Sundays to be black? They don't want that people to actually believe that. So they got these little stupid stories out here about Coach Prime or Shedeur in some dumb contract that didn't even make sense, or this stupid thing blaming Coach Prime for some bull crap that don't even. All you got to do is use half of your brain cell to Google it, and it's not true. And it's funny how they put these stories out here, and it only be black people running with this. I'm like, they really feel like they know how to pimp you out. You got to stop and just Google it. Somebody sent me a story today. I ain't even replied to it. I went straight to the person's profile, and guess what was in the bio? Parody account. You see? You gotta at least just look. You gotta just look. He drunk on power. Yeah, I like that one. I would agree with that. Who will hold Stefanski accountable? I know that's right. I've been asking because it ain't gonna be Haslam. I'll put this on the screen, Miss Pamela, because you need to say it, bro, because this shit is ridiculous. I'm blocking anybody who come with that stupid story that is obviously verifiable on the damn internet. And it's on the screen. It's going to be the last time you see it. And I'm putting it out here because Miss Pamela is right. I'm putting you out the chat. I'm sorry. I cannot have you tainting the chat. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Yep, Sharon, I totally agree with you. I totally agree. Haslam is a ringleader. It said, we that support Shedeur were born at night, not last night. Right. Totally agree with you. They robbing the fans. It's legalized theft. It is. It's actually, what they say, is a violation of the Consumer Protection Act. It's deceptive advertising. Deceptive advertising. That's facts. It said black athletes are taking way too much abuse on these league platforms. Right. Carter, I'm gonna need you to be a little bit more of an intellectual than to just say stuff that don't make no sense. I'm gonna ask you to come back. I'm gonna just ask you to come back because, you know, most of the people in the conversation at What She Said Sports are people that do research who don't believe what haters say. We don't even entertain that around here. That's why people like it here, because we think. And we're going to need you to think if you want to hang out with us. Facts. Merry Christmas. All right. Jamari Thrash was already there. It said they bringing him up from the practice squad. Okay. Now what? Oh, is he a receiver? Is he a receiver? Let me know. It said most college QBs are not ready for the NFL. Different. That's false. Because Jada Daniels, CJ Stroud, who else came out? Lamar Jackson was a unanimous MVP. That's false, coach. That's false. It said, can someone block Carter? He's gone. Believe me, he's gone. I said, there it is, Heisman. What you saying, Amber? There it is, Heisman. What you talking about? It said even Jordan had to call people out through the court system. That's what I'm saying. And see, people believe that these leagues can't be taken down. They showed Michael Jordan coming into court with about 50 lawyers. And turns out NASCAR ended up settling. And the lawsuit was a class action lawsuit. It didn't just benefit 23i Racing. It benefited all of the teams. And understand this been going on. But it took Michael Jordan to take these people to court. And first he had to rally everybody together because some people probably didn't even want to do it. But they were just over there suffering until Michael Jordan came along, and now it's better for everybody. Shedeur could essentially be Michael Jordan and not even having to go to court because he had fans. And people are getting sick and tired of supporting what they have now become to understand is rigged gameplay by the head coach, Kevin Stefanski. So that'll be for Stefanski and Haslam to fight out. That's how I feel about it. That's just how I feel about it. Instead, remember, Haslam is still trying to stay in grace with the other owners because of Deshaun Watson's guaranteed contract. Pay attention to what, because the owners are incestuously close and they all decided what to do with Deshaun. That's facts. They got it detailed on Google, right? All you got to do is Google something. Mac Jones will be QB1 somewhere next year. Somebody gonna trade for him. I say Cleveland. They're not trying to win with Shedeur. That's obvious. Why would you let Stefanski sabotage Shedeur this year if you're gonna fire Stefanski next year and keep Shedeur and win with Shedeur next year and you're gonna get the Manning kid? You're not doing all of that. And when you look at the story of what the guys said of the extremes they went through, fired the GM because he was going to draft Lamar. Lamar is a 3-time MVP. Don't matter that they robbed him on the third one. In less than 10 years, this young man has racked up 3 MVPs and they just stealing them. So Lamar being sabotaged, Shedeur being sabotaged, and on the day they play each other, they don't even let you know that it's going to happen because they don't want you talking about it. They're not even putting together good football games. They just trying to slow down Lamar and stop Shedeur and every other black quarterback out here. I have said it. Black quarterbacks, especially Shiloh Sanders, is in an abusive relationship with the Cleveland Browns. That's facts. And the league has allowed this. So just like Michael Jordan took NASCAR, got together with some other people, and took NASCAR to court and won. Because NASCAR knew they didn't want to get into court with all this open information. NFL already got 2 lawsuits for racial discrimination open. They probably gonna want to settle those just like they settled the other lawsuit for $1 billion. Because there's so many people involved and you don't want it to go to court and everybody learn your dirty laundry. And you would think they would out here be on their P's and Q's. Because ain't nobody gonna tell them what to do. That's how they act. That's how they act. That's how they act. That's just what it is. It says, hey Amber, I said, okay, talking to Destiny. Just listen to Nola Girl commentary tonight. It's good. Thank you so much. It said Raiders gonna be an interesting storyline for next year. Yeah, because to me, if you just want to be honest, right? Why they don't get Dante Moore #1 to the Raiders? I'm listening. Why is Fernando Mendoza's name not #1 to the Raiders? Does anybody know? Anybody know? Who the #3 quarterback? I guess we're gonna have to look into it. Only Mendoza and Dante Moore being pigeonholed to the Browns. Neither one of them are white. It says Shedeur is going to be fine. I rebuke. Yeah, it's gonna be fine, Haslam, but it's also hard. So you can't just say that. Faith without works is dead. It says Shedeur best bet is to stay in Cleveland and get a new coach for Barry to build out the offense. And what you gonna do with the owner? What you gonna do with the owner? The owner is the reason Stefanski is allowed to destroy Shedeur's rookie year. Let's just be honest. Despite all of the hard work of the coaches, all the hard work of the players, the stellar rookie class, the owner. If the owner wanted to win, Stefanski wouldn't be working there. I believe they're gonna fire Stefanski, but I'm not convinced until after. I'm convinced after the season. Yes, we need to continue to pray for Shedeur, but you need to do more than pray. Faith without works is dead. It says Shedeur is got to get rid of the ball. Hello, pressured 68% of the time. So you want him to throw the ball away 68% of the time. And because he can't get nobody open, he's not supposed to wait till somebody get open. If you watch any other team with an O-line play ball, it's like night and day. Go watch Caleb. Go watch Caleb play the Browns. Don't even worry about the Browns part. Go watch the Bears highlights from this game. Caleb had all the time in the world to throw the damn ball. Only Shiloh Sanders is supposed to throw the damn ball away. No, fire Stefanski, damn it. He's the reason the O-line is trash. Because he took all of the starters and benched them except for one dirt diver. Shedeur will be all right. He'll be all right. Shedeur will never leave Cleveland because they drafted him when nobody else would. Shedeur is too loyal. Okay, Raina, no. No. Shedeur has said it every day. Every time he on the podium and they ask him about his future or they ask him about moving on, or you don't even have to ask him. He's going to volunteer it. I cannot be here next year. Shedeur is doing the same thing he did in the draft, right? He's going through the same thing he did in the draft. I don't know how people don't see it because his answers are basically the same. It's whatever. Oh, he's tumbling from the number 3 pick to the number 6. Like that's a tumble. Trying to make it more exaggerated than it is. All of the talking points when he was crashing out to number 21 was for Mike Tomlin to draft him and make him number 2 behind Aaron Rodgers. If I thought he was going to end up on a practice squad, if I thought he was going undrafted, if I thought the most he would be is QB2, then you better understand he being sabotaged because he made it to QB1 and he not supposed to be successful. Understand the pressure matters. So for all of the people that want to pray, good, pray. But God gonna use you. You can't just pray and just leave it at that. That's just lazy. You have to actually use your voice because it's working. They wouldn't be forcing Stefanski to come out to the podium to be different if it didn't matter. It matters. So if you say you support Shedeur, you're going to have to use your voice. You ain't got nothing else, so you're going to have to use your voice. That's just what you got to do. And it's working. They wouldn't be talking about the fan base if it wasn't. I mean, it's kind of bold to take down a quarterback that's a rookie that has sold the most jerseys as a rookie. That is the only quarterback that is rookie of the week. Shedeur is also number 10 in Pro Bowl voting for quarterbacks. He's up there with the Mahomeses and all of the other greats. This is the only quarterback that's in consistent good company as a rookie because they know he gonna outpace them. And they making sure he don't. Just like in a game, with his rookie career, they're holding him back because they know if he has a stellar rookie year, if you let him play freely, he gonna put up more than 400 yards every goddamn game. You think they don't know that Shedeur is elite enough to throw his damn receivers open? They studied him. Why you think they pigeonholed him to Cleveland where his career would go to die? Because they know who he is. Why do you think they drafted him when they came out and said before the combine, we don't want quarterbacks like Shedeur? Because they didn't want him to go to Canada or any goddamn where else and put up 400 yards. They didn't want 12 million fans going over there. They didn't want 2 million in jerseys to be sold over there. Somebody had the audacity to say, Shedeur might need to reconsider Canada like he's not good. I said, right about now, I'm with it. You think it's an insult. I think it's what should happen. I sure do. Because just like Baker Mayfield, I don't care where he go. He going to be successful. Because in the NFL, 32 teams took him off the board because they know he will be successful. Now, if he was white, they would be singing his praises. But because he's black, they don't want that. And they don't want to be accused of being racist. So they're in a tough spot. Because Shedeur might surprise all of them and go, you know what? I'm retiring from the NFL because honestly, the quarterbacks going back to school is no different than Warren Moon going to Canada. It's the same thing. They don't want to be devalued. Like Shedeur said, he come from a good family, so the money is not a priority. So he probably can put up with this malfeasance a little longer than most. But you see the players coming behind him, see what's going on. And that's what you hope for. That the people coming behind Shedeur learn. Don't let these people devalue you. Hopefully they don't all stack up in the portal. Good luck to them. Instead, them 304s don't want to be saved. I know that's right. They don't. They don't want to be saved. And some of their fans want to be lame so they can have something to complain about every day. Some people just miserable. That's what you just have to admit it. Some of these people, they just miserable. They don't have nothing else to live for. Be thankful that's not you. The reason why Shedeur holds on to the ball is because receivers are not running the right routes. Right. And he talked about that. People got to get to their spots. People have to get to their spots. He waiting on, he like, somebody got to get to their spot. And that's why his target is Harold Fannin Jr. They talked about that pass to Isaiah Bond, how he had excellent separation. Notice Shedeur went to him again, and what happened? Then he tried it again, what happened? And then on the fourth try. So it's like he counting in his head. I'm going to get this one, but I'm going to skip the other two, but I'm going to get the next one. And he wants to be taken seriously. Okay. These people doing more damage to their careers than Cleveland. It said, but Fannin did say Shedeur was calling the plays without a wristband. Yeah, I guess they trying to remember. I don't know. It's a shame that took place. And the fact that they want to throw Dylan's name in there, they just playing in people's face. After this season, there are teams coming for Shedeur once the owners take the hold off, right? And I don't know if that's going to happen. The only way that's going to happen is if they are forced into it. These people have shown you they not doing nothing without being forced into doing right. They're not interested in doing right. The Browns don't want to be saved. It's only pressure, whether it's from the sponsors or whether it's from $7 tickets. And it's time to sell season tickets and they don't want to buy no more. Shedeur has enough likeness to create his own league. I totally agree. And understand, they feel like tying these players up in these 4-year contracts keeps them from moving on and starting their own league. I want you to know they don't even believe that these guys are smart enough to do it. When you say you think all players are dumber than white players, you don't think they're going to start their own league. In fact, you expect them to do it, but you don't think they got enough effort in them to go do it. And to some extent, has it happened yet? It hasn't happened. It's called white benevolence. It's a tenet of white supremacy. That white people believe that black people need them to succeed. All of these black players out here going back to school, somebody coming out got to decide we need our own league. Or otherwise, that tenet of white supremacy, I mean, they ain't wrong if that's how you just gonna let them treat you and you don't go start your own thing and you got the resources. Hell, all you need is a goddamn camera and a football field. I done said that so many times. But let somebody like a woman want to come along and start a league and you gonna fight them tooth and nail. I'm just saying. All right, so I agree that Shedeur must create his own off-schedule plays. However, he can have a couple of players to work with him. Yeah, I don't know who the couple is. Who do you think he could trust at this moment? Let's be honest. Okay, we know he can escape the O-line, and Cam showed he can push people out the way. Who you think it is that he could trust? We just having a conversation. Just drop a trio of names that he can go to a high school and practice some plays with that don't nobody know about, or they could do some mental reps or however they want to do it. Shedeur and 3 other people, plays that they willing to commit to that are off schedule that can get executed and turned into 3 touchdowns. Shedeur and what 3 people? I'm going to think 2 and I'm going to come back to it. Shedeur and what 3 people? I'm going to put it on the screen so y'all can know. This is good to do. Here we go. Shedeur and what 3 people? And I said Lamar has to do the same thing too. And I don't know if he on that page yet. Shedeur. What 3 players? And this will be the overcomers play column. Okay, overcomer plays. Okay, what 3 players? For 6. The unexpected. Unexpected touchdowns. 1, Shedeur running it in himself. But if you notice, they got to get down there. So Shedeur and what 3 players for 6 points each? All right, let's see. And these are the off schedule. We are not talking about nothing the Browns put together because they ain't trying to win nothing. They don't want to be saved. They ain't trying to win. They trying to lose. So we said in order for Shedeur to be successful, he gonna have to get together with a small group that he can trust. That's Shedeur and 3 other players that they willing to run plays that don't nobody know about, and they get themselves open and can score a touchdown. Who is that? Shedeur plus 3 other players. It probably ain't but 2, but let's just go with 3. All right, so I have it on the screen. No, I don't. I'll put it on the screen so y'all could answer the question. All right, so I'm gonna leave that on the screen, and I want to see what y'all come up with. They're going to keep Shedeur for publicity. I agree. CP doesn't want to coach in the NFL, and I see why. And he also understands the ownership structure too, the power structure. It's that the agenda will remain the agenda by any means necessary. Thank you. 7 games is big enough sample for a trade. It said they are holding him to destroy him if they don't trade. Agree. And I don't think they're going to trade him. It said, my Saints could have had Lamar Jackson too. What? I would love to know all the teams that could have drafted Lamar. And they did Lamar the same way. 32 teams colluded against him in the draft, and 32 teams colluded against Lamar in free agency. And the Ravens was going to trade him. Jenkins talking about Judas need to be arrested. Him and Stefanski and a bunch of other people. It's the amen. I think the Browns are going to sabotage his career. Right. I said, watch Shedeur's waiting on the Lord. Don't be surprised if God is basically trying to get you to think about, are you going to sit here and let these people ruin your youth, or you just going, when I open that door, you're going to walk through it. See, one thing about it, you being prepared for something. He being prepared for moving on. That's obvious. He's being prepared for going to the next level. And there's only certain people he can take with him. And maybe he is thinking of starting his own league, and there's certain people he want to take with him. I don't know. But he being prepared. He's being shown who it is that he can take with him. And I don't know where he would go that he would have any choice in the matter in the NFL. So I ain't gonna tell you that that's what it is. You never know what people working on behind the scenes. Just because they don't tell us don't mean it ain't happening. Amen. I think the Browns are going to sabotage his career. Facts. It says Shedeur cannot do his teammate's job. Nope, he can't. And that's the thing, right? And I can't put it on the screen because I'm trying to get y'all to answer the question. Shedeur and what 3 players can put together something and make magic happen that's not in the playbook. Okay. And I don't know who willing to risk their contracts to do that. So again, it's going to only be a select few people. He converted Tony. I will say that. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he'll convert Haslam, but Stefanski, Stefanski like being a demon. That's just what it is. He like being like that. And he'd rather get people to join him than to do better. Shedeur might look mentally strong, but he's going through it. Right. That's why I say you have to do more than pray. Exactly. I totally agree with you. CTE is dangerous. Right. It said they need to sell or move that team. Too much mess. Yeah, I think they need to just ball it up and throw it in the trash, Amber, for 2 points. Like it's a basketball hoop because it's bad. And if it's bad from the outside, it's rank on the inside. You best believe that. You best believe that. The suppression of black quarterbacks is obvious, trying to become the norm, right? To normalize setting up and sabotaging your black quarterback. I totally agree. If Bucky said he's mentally drained, I can't imagine how Shedeur is feeling. Shedeur just needs to make it to a team where the fan base don't go for the BS. That's true. To go to a team where there's some accountability. That's what you're saying. Again, 32 owners. They're gonna have to be forced into doing right. And I don't know if Shedeur gonna make it that far. Because like y'all said, this ain't easy. We can't just be lazy and say, pray about it. No, you got to do something. Faith without works is dead. You can't just pray. I think Coach Brown need to go back to the game when the Bills come. Because clearly they decided to say, let's say Shedeur have a good game when he there. And they flip a switch and it happened. But when he gone, there's no accountability. That's what Coach Prime represents. Accountability. And somebody else needs to show up for there to be some accountability. So that's what needs to show up at the Bills game. Accountability. To make the Browns do right. And who is that? Who is that? I know who it is. I want to see what y'all gonna say. It said the card was never in there. Oh, they talking about the plate thing. Yeah. The season need to hurry up and end. Forget that Super Bowl. Yeah, I'm interested in the Super Bowl. I can honestly tell you that. Yeah, I agree. I fell out. The card fell out. It has never happened before. And Stefanski talking about other than the headset going out. I'm like, oh, okay, that's this week. Oh, okay, all right. Because he crazy enough to tell you. I just want you to know. He crazy enough to tell you that's what's next. Okay, Henry, it makes sense. I low-key get the feeling that the Cleveland reports will start to turn on the faithful servant. Okay, all right, let's see. So that's accountability, right? Has 22, that's accountability. If you say the Cleveland faithful people gonna turn on Stefanski, then that's accountability. We already see Dorsey calling for it. This week, the backlash came and they weren't anticipating the backlash. So that's change, right? It's a miracle that Dorsey is calling this situation out because he was so far on the other side when it started that it's divine intervention because how did we get here? And again, it's also divine intervention because they really thought everybody was going to trash Shedeur this week. That didn't happen. Instead, everybody saw and called out the sabotage. People who tried to say that he wasn't sabotaging them are now calling it sabotage. Maybe it's the end of the season and they feel like if they say that, they'll run Stefanski out for next season. But I don't know why they just can't call out, fire Stefanski all at the same time, Monday through Friday. I don't get it. So yeah, 22, you're right. But that's accountability, and that's what's needed in this situation. Yeah, we definitely ain't watching the draft as family. Well, definitely not watching the draft. I'm so happy these guys going back to college. That makes me proud. I feel like that's divine intervention in itself. I'm hoping Dante Moore will navigate this issue and look at it to be strategic about where to put his feet. Right? So let's see what happens. And he gonna have to close his ears, because I know Oregon is working him. Right? They want the credit for another quarterback, but they don't care about what happened to him, because they don't care about what happened to Dylan, because that was crazy. It said, good evening, Mama Tia. How you doing? It said, you can't even sue for rigging the games. That's a lie. It's not just an entertainment company. The NFL is a competitive sports league. It's not the WWE. So that's actually not true. He said something else during his first interview. It said the Browns have been trashed for 30 years. yes, 30 years from owner to owner. It said the reporters are always turning on, kept asking him if he's been told that he's not returning. They asked him that. I don't listen. Not today. They asked him that. See, even I gotta protect my peace. Who said it has? You know it's tough for Shedeur. Yeah, because it was tough for me. I had to go through the process today to level set my own expectations, to figure out how to continue on this journey, knowing it's some fugazi, right? Knowing it's BS-ery, right? But I made it with some level set expectations. That's what it is. Like Shador said, it is what it is. And that's all you could do. But for me, now I want to see what God does next week. Not what Stefanski does next week. What God outdoes Stefanski by next week. Because God outdid Stefanski with the backlash. He was not expecting that. He did not do everything he did to rig and fix, throw, sabotage Shedeur in the game with people to side for Shedeur. And if they had to use the play sheet, they know they can't come out and say he trashed. But what they're going to do next, I don't know. But I want to see what God going to do next to keep them from getting the result that they thought they wanted. That's why I'm watching. Because God keeps showing up in this situation. Yep, Ramont, that's facts. Arch Manning is returning to school in 2026, according to his father, Cooper, as reported by ESPN. I don't give a damn what nobody say until draft day. Until draft day. And I'm waiting to see what happened in Texas versus Michigan. Because I'm looking to see why they waited. They waited to after recruiting cycle, which meant they duped some recruits, right? And I'm waiting to see if it was conveniently before Texas versus Michigan. Because if he ball out in this game, there's a reason why the Browns are committing to the future being Harold Fanning Jr. and not Shedeur. There's a reason for that. It said, I'd be checked out too if they don't have anything to play for. Right. I mean, here's the thing. You want me to throw the game, but you want me to be passionate about a rigged game. See, you can't have your cake and eat it too. See, the consequences of rigging the season, and here's the thing, they say they tanking. What they tanking for? Did they tank last year when they was 3-14? And they got the number 2 pick overall and traded it away? That's probably what the hell they gonna do this year. And people gonna go ballistic, and I'ma laugh. Because you should have learned. You should have learned. They had the number 2 pick, could have got Shedeur and Travis. Had 10 picks overall. They got a defensive tackle. And they don't even want the defense to ball the hell out. They've been suppressing the defense, suppressing the running back, suppressing the O-line, weakening the O-line, manipulating the players who's supposed to catch the ball. And I'ma just laugh when people get mad when they trade that pick or they wait till next year and get the Manning kid. Or if he come out, because I said it. All you gotta do is look at these people's history of who they've been drafted. If they passed on Shedeur, they ain't trying to win. Shedeur over there on the ground. I'm a set guy was like, I'm gonna sit him right back over here. so you can show what you made of. You ain't trying to win. They're not trying to win. I don't care who they get. They're not trying to win. And they not paying nobody $46 million to lose. So that's why they got Dylan. Yeah, okay, I'll pay him. That's it. They wasn't paying Shedeur $13 million to lose the season. They wasn't trying to win the season. Jeudy wasn't even catching passes when Dylan was the damn quarterback. Harold Fanning Jr. was. So they got Jeudy right where they want him. They got leverage on him. So good luck to him. Because they probably gonna use it. Nothing but stop watching it, I guess. Or not show up to the games. I think that's the most impactful way. Praying for 12. It's all about surviving at this point. Right. That's it. It's just about surviving. And Shedeur, if you ever see this, understand this. God keeps showing up, and he know that. God keeps showing up and in front of all of us. Because what they thought it was going to be is never what it is. It's never what it is. And it's more and more support for Shedeur instead of what they planned for it to be. So this makes me excited to go see what it is God gonna do next. Because they thought it was gonna be one thing, but it just now has more and more support for Shedeur. Tony Grossi not the only person who was against Shedeur and is now riding for Shedeur. He ain't the only one. He's a representative of that faction. So yeah, I want to go see now. I ain't worried about what the hell Stefanski gonna do. I want to know what God gonna do. Because it's the damn miracle in itself that the way that game ended, you just knew that they was gonna blame Shedeur. And they tried it. But they got drowned out. That's why I said Shedeur having 12 million fans is God's grace for him. So we're gonna have a watch party and see what God gonna do in this game. Yep. That's what we're gonna do. I do that in my own personal life, so and it normally is the right thing to do. It said they are no longer elite football players, but dumb actors for money. Yep, that's kind of true, right? That's true. It said they told 3 different lies about that. I didn't watch any football or anything talking about football. Got on YouTube, and the first video I saw was Bush hated on Shedeur, while Jay and Dustin said he wasn't bad. Yeah, I'm glad you found us. I'm glad you found us. And I don't know how people keep finding us, but they're like, oh, I'm glad I found your channel. Shout out to YouTube. If you want some real authentic conversation and some accountability regardless, right? This is where you belong. What She Said Sports, you'll love it here. You know, it's so many people out here. I don't know how many channels there are on this topic, but it's in the double-digit thousands. People don't understand that it's in the double-digit thousands. You can pull up Shedeur name and search endlessly, and it's just gonna come up channel after channel. It's new people getting into this space, and they did something else, but because they see it, and the AI channels, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. I don't even know how they turn them damn channels around so fast, but they do, right? So glad you found us. Thanks for hanging out with us. I'm glad you found us. It said they ain't trying to make Shedeur look like an idiot. It said water was in the armband. No, absolutely not. It said, do pink elephants exist? Ask Stefanski and wait for an answer. Ask Stefanski and wait for an answer. Facts. Because it's probably gonna be the same scripted answer. Well, you know, I'm sure he would like to get a lot of those plays back. You know, there's a lot to learn. You know, our rookies want to learn. You know, it's just a learning opportunity. It's the same thing. You can go get a lot of his interviews and just edit them together, and it's just, I think that's what NFL on CBS did. But they were showing Stefanski being dismissive of Shedeur. I'm telling you, the pressure is real. But it ain't enough to turn. You need something else. Let's see what the something else is. Ain't no telling who else gonna be exposed in this situation. Maybe we don't know everybody involved, and we gotta find out who else is involved. It says Shedeur already rich. He needs to start his own league. He might. You never know. It takes billions to start a league. No, it does not. That's just ridiculous. Overtime Elite just had their championship. They have a league. It's 7-on-7. I just watched their championship. Cam Newton has a league. He ain't spent billions of dollars. I don't know why that's a misnomer. You're not trying to fund 32 teams at one time. I don't know why people think that. That's ridiculous. No, you don't. You don't at all. You need some people who are willing to play football, and people who know how to play football, and a place to play football and stream it. That's it. Majority of these players sell out for money, right? For 3 years. For 3 years. There you go, Huckleberry. There you go. Because I'm going to tell you, his seat is being kept warm for him. And Dylan was the one to keep the seat warm. They know Shedeur going to mess it up because you don't want the Manning kid following Shedeur because they're going to be like, he asked. That's what's going to happen. But he could follow Dylan. See, they already had this plan out. That's what I need people to understand. This been playing for a couple of years. You don't think they knew that kid was coming out? Guess who they talking about now? Peyton Manning's son. You see, they just going from one to the other. And it's all intentional. So now they talking about his son. They easing that into the conversation. A lot of the college children seeing how they played Shedeur, they willing to return to school. Yeah, that's what they need to do. They realize they can't even live out their own dream. Now, for what I understand, when the rookies come into the league, it's not until they get after the 53-man roster, after, the preseason, that's when they learn what it really is. That's when they learn this ain't what you think it is. But now, because they wanted to try to destroy Shedeur in the draft, everybody sees what it is. And now, because they still doing it in Cleveland, they basically proved that this had nothing to do with Coach Prime. They just exposing themselves. And every week Shedeur play football or is on a football team, it will continue to expose them because they desperate to finish what they started, and that's destroying his career. They only drafted him to destroy him because they knew before the combine, we don't want quarterbacks like Shedeur. But you can't leave people like Shedeur to his own because he gonna go start something else. Or he gonna go somewhere else and ball out. So draft to destroy. That's been the plot. We're just seeing it play out. And 12 million people are standing on business about it because of Shedeur. Hope you do another watch party for the camaraderie. Yeah, I will. Yeah, I looked at the game. I saw I have access to it because I got the Sunday ticket for $48. If y'all didn't get it and you just plan to watch the rest of the games, just get it. I mean, that's just unless you don't want to watch it, and that's fine. But yeah, I still have it. The game is at 1:00, so we're gonna be live. I want to see what God gonna do. I'm gonna be praying and hoping and praying Shedeur can overcome maybe some off-schedule plays with some of these guys out here, just like the 1 or 2 or 3 that's out here. So yeah, definitely gonna be doing it. People enjoy it too, right? People really enjoy it. So shout out to Tony. She was she one of the members. She got her own channel, Tony Talks Vest. She's in Canada. She was live doing the watch party. She was the one that said in the comments she was traveling, so she couldn't see the game. So she was saying, she really appreciated me, doing the game or whatever. So we definitely gonna do another watch party, because we ride with Shedeur. It don't matter where it's at. We ride with Shedeur. So, but yeah, Shedeur can start his own league. He's definitely one of the people that can. Nisi say get rid of 26. I know that's right. Like I said, best case scenario, get rid of Stefanski, get rid of 26, get rid of 3, get rid of maybe everybody but Cam and Lucas, Cornelius Lucas on the O-line and rebuild, but definitely get Shiloh in there. Now you'll know that they respect Shedeur when you see one of his receivers that he believes in, probably from Colorado, Jimmy Horn Jr., and probably Shiloh. Shiloh's better than 26, but that's why 26 was out there. That's why Denzel Ward wasn't out there. And I believe they retaliated against Denzel Ward because he spoke up and said Shedeur was ready. It's funny how they tried to get Myles Garrett right, retaliated against Denzel, but somehow made Jerry Jeudy an asset. You see the difference for the 3 types of players? Because because they know their personalities. I don't know if they can go to Myles Garrett and ask him to throw a game. I don't think so. I think he's too vocal. I think they have to try to get him a different way. And from what I've seen, they want to try to put his business in the street. So if they got any business on you, that's the leverage that they have. Denzel Ward, they just keep him out the game because he like playing. Tony Brown, they terminated his contract. Some say Flacco, that's why he got traded. Wyatt Teller got benched. We're not the only people seeing this retaliation. Nobody will do anything about it. So we're going to show up and have a watch party to see what God does. That's just what it is. So yes, we are. All right, y'all, we're going to get out of here. I'm going to the end to see if anybody answered the question. To see if anybody answered the question of Shedeur and what 3 players. Mary Kay at 92.3 said they need to cut Jeudy. She also said they are getting Shedeur some help in O-line. When did she say that? I'm going to need the link. Did she say that for real? Somebody said in one 24-hour period, Mary Kay went from they getting rid of Shedeur and getting a quarterback in the draft to they keeping Shedeur and he going to be there next year. Like, I told y'all, I need to see anything she said. I need to see where her sources come from because they be telling her anything. I swear they be lying to her. Like when they were talking about the free agency or when that little trade period opened, she was like, yeah, they getting ready to do all of this. They ain't do nothing. They ain't do nothing. I was like, they be making her look crazy. They be making her look crazy. But shout out to Daniel Oyefuse. He be asking the questions. I appreciate that. So that's just crazy. I'm going to have to go look that up. She said they need to build around Shedeur. That's quite interesting. So she another one. So between Tony Grossi and Mary Cabot, that's 2 that have been converted into believers because Tony was a Dylan guy and he admitted it. But see, he apologized. See, that's what people don't understand. If you apologize for being wrong or you we'll respect you. But if you just want to be like Acho over here this week, over here next week, no credibility. Now, I don't know if Mary Cabot didn't apologize, but sounds like she trying to switch it back in, right? And saying they need to get Shedeur some O-line help. They knew that. Remember, they were going to get Shedeur at number 2. Why they didn't get no O-line help? In other words, how can you profess to say you were going to get Shedeur as your franchise QB, pay him $13 million, but you draft 2 running backs? It's the defensive people. You didn't get no O-linemen and you didn't get no wide receivers. I talked about this after the draft. You got side dishes. You didn't get no entrees. You went 3-14 last year and was embarrassed when the season was over. But you don't get no O-linemen and you don't get no receivers. And I said, that's how I know that they were lying about getting Shedeur. Because how can you say you're going to get Shedeur, but you change your mind because you got Deshaun? But if you look at who you drafted, Shedeur never get that. And he still doesn't. And now you're warming up to him. I'm going to tell you something I read about Haslam was saying. I don't think I can post it yet. I'd have to mock it up a little bit. He was saying that they decided to take a step back and not get a quarterback or something like that because they was going to get Shedeur. But he said they was going to take a step back and go slow for about 3 years and keep rebuilding. They've been rebuilding since 2020, since they got Stefanski. And he said, but we could take a big leap ahead. That's what he said. He said, but we're not going to panic. So in other words, they know they didn't have a quarterback, wasn't serious about a quarterback, but something could happen that could make them take a huge leap. But then again, we ain't going to panic about it. That something is Shedeur. I'm pretty sure that's what he was saying without saying. How can you say you're not getting a quarterback? You're gonna go slow with this thing for 3 more years and keep rebuilding. But we could somehow take a big leap forward in that department. But we're not panicking. Shedeur is the only unexpected to get to 144 for a deep discount. And I feel like every week some new information comes out that puts the piece of the puzzle together that proves that the team that has never had a black franchise quarterback in the first round was under false pretenses pre-drafted with Shiloh Sanders, a black quarterback in the first round, number 2 overall, and that it was always planned for him to be devalued, because when he was tumbling to number 21, Mike Tomlin was advised to draft the Colorado quarterback and make him QB2 behind Aaron Rodgers. If you could come out and say that out loud, and then when he gets Cleveland, say he gonna end up on a practice squad, and say Stefanski never wanted him, but was part of courting Shedeur pre-draft, y'all was faking with Shedeur. That's why he was locked out of the first round. And that's what I think is coming forth. Not just the fact that he got devalued and they took him off the board and Daboll got fired. I think the truth that it was premeditated, that he was devalued to stop 17 to 32 from happening, is what's going to come out before it's all said and done. And that's criminal. And there's nothing the 32 owners could do to shield themselves from that decision. And it will show how racist the NFL is. That's exactly what I think. We are all still waiting for, whether we know it or not, being assembled for the truth to come out, because it's sinister. A lot of people want to say it was about Coach Prime. No, it wasn't. I already said it was about race. What I said I couldn't prove just yet is that it was premeditated when it came to Cleveland. And from what I can see, the way Cleveland does business, they don't want no black first round quarterback. So it means you was pretending with Shedeur. And you let everybody think until 2 weeks before the draft you was going to get him. And they all went to get their own quarterback. And he had nowhere else to go. And then y'all locked him out of the first round, giving the Browns an excuse not to be able to draft him because he ain't in the first round. But that was a lie. And it came out that that was a lie. And then the truth that we weren't ever supposed to know, the owners got together and took him off the board. And we know the owners are incestuously close. So they all were in on it, which is why 13 teams passed on the best quarterback in the 2025 draft and the best quarterback in the 2026 draft, because he's black. And they don't want 17, 18, 19, or 20 black quarterbacks playing against each other. They were willing to destroy Shedeur and these black quarterbacks coming out of college because they don't want no more black quarterbacks to exceed 17 of 32. Somebody else besides myself gonna pick that up at some point, and then it's not gonna be nowhere to hide. And that's why I think this is still happening, because we don't know the truth. And I think we need to know it. And you ain't even got to look for it. The way they act tells the story. So it said, that's just what it is. It said no team can win if there's no run game. Right. And we already know, being Colorado fans, you know, how that works out. Right. We know that. Right. And that's why people are pointing out that Quinshon Judkins' run time, his yardage gain on Samson out, because Shedeur can throw to him. Shedeur can throw to Harold Fanning Jr. Who else can Shedeur throw to depend on? Quinshon Judkins is technically a running back, but they reducing his yardage every game to make him ineffective. Harold Fanning Jr. is in triple coverage. Dylan Sampson was taken out the game. Who else is it? Can't count on Jerry Jeudy. You would think it would be Isaiah Bond, but that's hit or miss. I'm not sure why that is, but it's hit or miss. So I don't even know who the third person is. Maybe he's not in the game yet. I thought they said Luke was going to play this week. What happened to that? Remember when they said Luke was going to play? I didn't see him. Did y'all see Luke come out there? That's interesting. That's very interesting. All right, y'all, we're going to get out of here. Maybe we'll see Luke this week. We'll be back tomorrow. So now that, you know, I've level set my mindset about what it is we're watching for, just like Shedeur had to do. Shedeur had to put on his shoes what it is he's playing for, knowing they trying to hold him back. Why am I doing this, right? Why? He said what he's playing for. So I had to level set my expectations to understand what I'm watching for. And I'm watching to see what God does next. Because whatever Stefanski and the others try to do to Shedeur, the message that they're trying to send, he's not good. It keeps backfiring. It keeps backfiring. So I want to see what God does next to protect and cover Shedeur. So we'll be live for the watch party versus the Bills. Yes, I expect Stefanski to rig and fix the game. But I want to see what God does for Shedeur. All right. So I'll see y'all later. Thanks for watching What She Said Sports. I hope this episode cheered y'all up and gave y'all a purpose to still roll with 12. We still rolling with you, 12. The Shedeurians, we still out here. We're going to still be out here in this thing. We got more people joining us every week. Shedeur gains more and more supporters. So mark your calendars for Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Shedeur Sanders versus Josh Allen. Let's see what it's like. All right. I'm going to see y'all later. Have a good night, everybody. Enjoy your evening.